All right, here we go. Friday already. The week's gone by pretty darn fast, if you don't mind me saying. Somebody here on the text line greets me with, did Damon really just say carefuler? See, no good deed goes unpunished. I come in for a weekly little crosstalk. What do you call it? Crossover? Is that the official branded segment we basically only do once a week? I wasn't warmed up. Now I'm ready to go. Ray, if you're ready to go, signify, make a sign. Turn your mic on. It's usually a good way to let me know that you're ready to start talking today. How are you?
I was just trying to be carefuler.
Yeah, please be carefuler. It's a Carefuler Friday where we will be fading the public once again, and we got an actual gambling expert to do that with. You know him as Joe Fortenbaugh. He comes up at 4:15 today. Ramona Shelburne a little bit later on this hour. We haven't said hello to Ramona, I don't think, since she has come back from maternity leave. So it'll be a good chance to catch up with her. Obviously, the Warriors beat the Heat last night behind another monster from Steph Curry. 6 Warriors reached double figures. Curry led the way. He had a game-high 33. He hit 7 threes along the way. And, Ray, if you can ever score 33 points without a free throw, you go ahead and you do that, because that's what the NBA asked Steph Curry to do last night. At no point in time during the act of shooting over the course of an NBA game was Steph Curry fouled in any way, shape, or form by a very defense-forward Miami Heat team. 0 free throws for Steph. These referees are in mid-season form.
I was good with it. I mean, I don't know if you noticed, but Miami didn't play very good defense last night.
Not great.
And they haven't actually played very good defense the entire year. I grant you it's only 5 games for them, but this is not the Miami Heat you're used to. I have a feeling that when they get a chance for practice, that defense will be an emphasis.
We have quite a bit to get into today. We got some interesting sound from last night's game, where basically Klay Thompson, he let you know that he got his feelings hurt. Got his feelings hurt by Charles Barkley. And I don't blame Klay for feeling that way. I mean, here's a guy who grew up with an NBA dad, who played in an era where, Charles Barkley was a peer of his. And I think he has an awful lot of respect for Charles Barkley. I think he likes the TNT show that he went out and visited on opening night when the Lakers were in town. He walks out through a sea of people to get to the set to sit down and do a segment with the guys. And 3 days later, Charles Barkley's talking about he's done, he's cooked, he got ejected, he got frustrated, he knows he's not going to ever be the same guy again. And it hurt Klay Thompson. And the fact that he talked about it was kind of an honest moment, I thought, in a world where press conferences don't get you much honesty. The man who doesn't say very much, by definition, his words are a bit more valuable than the guy who talks all the time. I probably shouldn't say that out loud. But
I see the flaw in your argument.
Yeah, but, an economy of words makes words valuable. And he's got an economy of words, and he let everyone know that kind of hurt.
But he talks more than he used to. Oh, were you going to go to the bite?
Yeah, no, I'm looking for the bite and where it is.
Oh, well, then I'll talk some more.
Brandy, where is it? I should have found this out before the show started.
You want me to play it?
Yeah, go ahead. You go ahead and play it.
All right, here it is.
So, it hurts when someone like Charles Barkley, with the platform he has, says you're not the same player prior to the injuries you have. It's like, no duh, man. Consecutive years, tore my ACL, my Achilles in consecutive years, and still help a team win a championship. I mean, it hurt hearing that, because it's like, man, I put in so much freaking effort to get back to this point. Like, it's hard to even put into words what I had to do to be the player I am today. And it's like, played 57 games in 3 years. Like, give me some freaking time to get that back, and just hear someone say, oh, he's not the same as he was prior to the injuries. Like, duh. Like, who goes through something like that and comes back? I don't know. It just hurt my heart hearing that. But you know what? I'm going to internalize it, and it's going to be fuel for me to be even better. And I think I'm very proud of what we accomplished last year, and I feel like I was a huge part of it. I'm not going to let these injuries be a crutch for me. I'm just going to keep going, and I'm going to have a great year. I bet on that.
Told you, it hurt his heart a little bit. And, give me a break. He wasn't angry. He wasn't irrational. He was very calm as he said it, and he basically, that was his exit statement of a press conference. He had talked about a game which was a bounce-back game for him. Klay had, 19 last night? He had a good night, an okay night for Klay for sure, and just wanted to get that off his chest. I thought there was some value there.
Yeah, I think he's overreacting some because A, it's not Barkley's job to make him feel good about himself. Two, he is right. I mean, he is not the same player yet. And, whether or not, he said that, but in time he will be. Well, Barkley can't know that because nobody can know that. I mean, if he gets to be upset about whatever he wants to get upset about, I'm not quibbling with that. But Barkley didn't say anything that was factually incorrect or needlessly cruel. It is a fact. He is not yet the Klay Thompson of old, and he may never be that again. But I'm not bothered either by what Barkley said or what Thompson said in response. I mean, they're both essentially factual. Yeah, he wishes he could get more of a benefit of the doubt, but it's not Barkley's job to do that.
Well, here's what Charles Barkley said after that bad performance from Klay. 2 points, got ejected against Phoenix.
There was a time when Klay Thompson was the best two-way guard in the NBA, and he's not the same guy, and that's because of injuries. Now, is he done? No, I don't think he's done. I think he's slowing down and is catching up with. That's why he's frustrated. I think the same thing with Draymond. I think he's slowing down. You saw in the finals, because his game is really dictated on energy. And once you get past 30, you start losing, especially if you're playing deep in the playoffs every year. That's why I said Steph got a lot more work to do now. Them young guys going to really have to step up, or this team is not going to win the championship if those young guys don't start carrying the team.
Nothing there was over the top, Charles, really insensitive, trying to be funny, got nasty level of criticism. But it just shows you that these guys, and I was talking about this too after that game, I think, the number one way to scare a professional athlete is to have them consider their own professional mortality. And I think that Klay Thompson has considered that. That might have crept into a little bit of some of the choices that, Draymond Green had been making leading up to the year, if you will. Not to pick any old scab wounds there, but it's frightening to get old in any capacity. To get older as a young professional athlete has to make it almost doubly so.
Yeah, well, I mean, they know that they have fewer days ahead of them than they have behind them.
Yep.
I mean, only an idiot would argue otherwise. But the truth is, that is the nature of the animal, and it's always been that. I mean, LeBron is feeling it. Unless you're 25, you're looking over your shoulder all the time. It's one of the cruelties of professional athletics. It's always like that. Bryce Harper can't feel happier about himself than he does this day. But he knows. They all know. And, Klay Thompson not wanting to hear it on a broadcast, I get that too. But Barkley's got to say what Barkley's got to say. Otherwise, what's the point of him being there?
In a world where we like our athletes to be interesting, to be willing to expose themselves, to share a vulnerability, I just thought it was kind of cool that Klay just said, look, I'm a big, bad, well-paid NBA player. There's no doubt about that. I'm going to go to the Hall of Fame one day. But even words can hurt a guy like me. And sometimes truth hurts. So maybe that's why it rung a little closer to home than Klay was really comfortable with. Now, holding off the Grim Reaper is certainly something he looked like he was capable of doing last night. Again, it was a good night for the Warriors against a team that might have been in the NBA Finals, but for a couple more buckets against the Boston Celtics. So we're going to take a look back at that one. Some interesting stuff came out of that, including the two-headed monster report, which I also have already shared on the little crossover that I just did with Steiny and Guru. But we're going to get back to that at some point in time today. And one of the things that we absolutely are getting in today is, Ray, it's how do you talk about a guy who's still waiting to win the big one, who is 0-1 in the big one, who is 1-1 in the other big ones? We're talking about Kyle Shanahan, the three biggest games of his career. He's 1-1 in the NFC title game. He is 0-1 in the Super Bowl. Those are the big games. Those are the really, really big games. But this game Sunday down at SoFi, I'm going to call it one of the most season-altering games that Kyle Shanahan has ever had the opportunity to coach in. and what the year looks like should he win it, and the path that is set up for him should he lose it. And it's very difficult to sweep an NFL team 4 years in a row. That's what Kyle Shanahan's trying to do, and I'm sure you have already heard that Deebo Samuel is not going on Sunday. So we got an awful lot to talk about. A little bit later on this hour, again, Ramona Shelburne joins us. Our old pal Joe Fortenbaugh is going to join us today. You will be joining us, we hope, throughout 888-957-9570 to talk about what is coming up for 49ers down at SoFi and what Klay Thompson was just honest enough to share last night. I think there's some interesting stuff there. 888-957-9570. Speaking of interesting stuff, well, I guess that's up for you. And beauty is in the eye of the beholder. 957thegameshop.com for all your merchandise needs. Ooh, I feel a little dirty. I really do.
And Sean McVay has to cross the field and shake the hand of Kyle Shanahan, who has beaten him now 7 straight times in the regular season.
It's a West Coast showdown.
3rd down and 9. Bosa. The sack.
Niners. Rams. This is the Bay Area's sports station. 95.7 The Game.
If you own a business, this has been a bumpy ride. From pandemic to inflation, I'm sure you could use a break. If your business has 5 or more employees and survived COVID, you might be eligible to receive a payroll tax refund of up to $26,000 per employee. The challenge is getting your hands on it. Hi, I'm Howard Mackler, and that's why I founded GetRefunds.com to cut through the red tape and get you the money. The team of tax attorneys we have put together are highly trained in this little-known payroll tax refund program. We do all the work, charge not a dime up front, and simply share a percentage of the cash that we get for you. Businesses of all types can qualify, including those that took PPP, nonprofits, and even those that had increases in sales. We have helped return over $1 billion to businesses, and we can help you too. Just go to getrefunds.com/sports, click on Qualify Me, and answer a few questions. This payroll tax refund is only available for a limited period of time. Don't lose out on up to $26,000 per employee. Go to getrefunds.com/sports. That's getrefunds.com/sports.
Don't waste your time trying to sell your old car. Donate it to Cars for Kids. It's the easiest and fastest way to donate your car and get a tax deduction. Donate online at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K.
1-877 Cards for Kids. Donate your car today.
Tune in to 95.7 The Game for Warriors Live. 60 minutes before tip-off of every Warriors game. Brought to you by Xfinity. Supercharge your home with supersonic Wi-Fi. Unbeatable internet only from Xfinity.
Alice at 97.3 is celebrating the return of Alice in Winterland. Friday, December 2nd at the SAP Center in San Jose. Starring John Mayer. One Republic.
See you at Alice in Winterland.
Matt Nathanson. Plus more to be added. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster. Get everything Alice in Winterland at radioalice.com.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-200-1966. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-200-1966. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-200-1966. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds, too. Call 800-200-1966. 800-200-1966.
At Harris Ranch, we do beef, just like we've done for over 50 years. Beef that's raised locally right here in California. Tender steaks, awesome burgers, and California classics like tri-tip roast. The flavor you crave, the quality you trust time after delicious time. Come on, it's time to get out and grill. Harris Ranch, we do beef. Legendary beef, legendary quality.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
When people have a craving to explore new and traditional Asian cuisines, they head to P.F. Chang's, where scratch-made dishes come from the 2,000-year-old tradition of wok cooking. P.F. Chang's wanted to explore new possibilities for their website. They turned to AmericanEagle.com. AmericanEagle.com re-architected P.F. Chang's website, integrating multiple third-party systems to create a unified digital experience. The results? Improved page speed and performance, personalized content based on users' location, intuitive online ordering, an increase in organic search visibility, and a 40% increase in new users. For scratch-made Asian cuisine, visit your local P.F. Chang's or go to pfchangs.com for website design, development, digital marketing, and hosting that produce efficiency, revenue, and results. Visit AmericanEagle.com. P.F. Chang's and AmericanEagle.com. Another example of the best businesses in the world, turning to the best in the business for websites. Go to AmericanEagle.com or call 877-WEB-NOW1. That's 877-WEB-NOW1.
You might not have the biggest garage on the block, but with eBay Motors, there's 122 million parts right at your fingertips. Whatever you need, there's something that fits your vehicle. Air filters, tires, seat covers, and more. Get the right parts at the right prices. ebaymotors.com. Let's ride.
Now back to Damon and Ratto on 95.7 The Game.
Steph Curry with another virtuoso performance. It was actually a little bit of an ensemble. We had 6 Warriors reaching double figures. Another really good game. A really, really good game last night out of Andrew Wiggins. An outstanding start to his year. 18 points, 10 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, a block. Wiggins played great last night. Klay Thompson rebounded with 19 points, and it was a win over the Heat, 123-110. I believe that means the game was covered and the over hit. I think we just threw that out there, just kind of casually talking about it. So there you go, just a little free money for you.
Yes, I think the overs hit every one of their games, in large part because they haven't defended anybody.
I believe Joe Fortenbaugh would call that a trend. We will find out. A little bit later on today, he's coming up at 4:15. Ramona Shelburne joining us to talk some NBA a little bit later on this hour. Somebody's saying here on the Xfinity mobile text line, saying, you know, I don't understand Klay's feelings being hurt when he makes millions of dollars to play basketball. Just my opinion, his showing his feelings is not newsworthy. Mark. Ooh, Mark, you're a tough customer. I'm not saying that it's newsworthy. I'm saying it's interesting. I think whenever a player in a league that basically demands never exposing weakness, never showing vulnerability as foundations of careers, for a player to have enough self-confidence to come out and say, look, something bothered me. You know, it hurt my feelings. I don't care how much money you make. No one has ever made so much money that they can afford to never have their feelings hurt. And I think it wasn't just some, podcaster. It wasn't some broadcaster, even though that's what Charles Barkley does, obviously, on the set of TNT. It was someone who he really respects, I think, looks up to. And to hear a declaration of it ain't going to be the same for Klay Thompson, like he even said, no duh. No duh, it's not going to be the same. Look what I've gone through, and that's where the actual emotion starts bubbling up. You know what Klay Thompson really feels more than anything else, Ray? More hurt by Charles Barkley, more upset by the words that he didn't like. What really hurts Klay Thompson is he's a future Hall of Fame player who had 2 years of prime taken away from him. And probably one more NBA championship in the mix of the years that were taken away from him. I still think if Klay had not torn his ACL against Toronto, they got a puncher's chance going to Toronto in Game 7 for sure.
A puncher's chance. I mean, Toronto played better in that series.
They did.
But what happened.
Yeah.
I think the if that still bothers him, I think that's going to be a mental hurdle that he's going to have to clear pretty quickly, because you can't change the past. That's the deal. I mean, whatever you were going to do in those 2 years, it's only going to happen in an alternate universe. So
right, but based on the fact that you're a living, breathing human.
No. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he shouldn't feel it, but it shouldn't still sort of be in the forefront of his mind, even if Charles Barkley brings it up. It's lousy luck. And maybe part of Thompson's issue is that up until then, he had it as good as anybody in the sport, including Curry, because he had a lot further to come to be thought of as an important member of the league. And he had to change more about his game than Curry did. He had to make himself an elite defender, as well as be the shooter that he was when he was at Washington State. So I get that he pushed a piano up a muddy hill to get where he got. And I get that the 2 years and change that he lost because of it is an awful thing for him. But you can't do anything about that. All you can be is in the moment until you retire. And I think that's sort of what he was alluding to at the end, which is I'll internalize it.
Use it as some fuel going forward.
But, again, it's not that Barkley went and picked on him. That's the thing. I think the information hurt him. I don't think it's that Barkley said it, because it's a fact. He lost that.
I think he knew the information. I do think the sender of the information plays a role in his emotional response.
Well, but it shouldn't, because A, the truth's the truth, and B, Charles Barkley has been harsher to others in his job at TNT.
Oh, much harsher.
Yeah, so I thought he actually, was kinder to Thompson than he has been to some others. He simply was accurate. And I think, it's okay for Thompson to feel lousy about being reminded of it, but it doesn't change the fact that it's true. I mean, that he is not the player he was. And Barkley went out of his way to say he's not done, which is to say he could get back to being that guy. All he said was he's not there yet. And Thompson acknowledged as much.
Yeah, I think that even might be part of it. I think this might be Klay's admission, like, measure me now against the best that I can be now. Don't measure me against the moments before these career-altering injuries occurred, because that's a standard that I might not be able to reach again. But by the way, the standard that I still did put up over the brief amount of games that I've played since my return did hang a banner. It did. It did. And I'll tell you, one of the most impressive things I think from that NBA Finals run was, is it true? Klay Thompson led the Warriors in minutes, in postseason minutes. Was that true? I thought I heard that. That right there is a huge testament to his ability to bounce back from these injuries, if that is true. I remember him being on the court an awful lot. 888-957-9570. Just real emotion. I'll take a little real emotion in a world of BS and preening schmoes who never want to expose any vulnerability whatsoever. Again, and we're not going to bask in it all day. I just thought it was interesting. Here's Klay Thompson one more time talking about, hey, I'm just going to tell you, it hurt my feelings a little.
Oh, I got one thing to say. It hurts when someone like Charles Barkley, with the platform he has, says you're not the same player prior to the injuries you have. It's like, no, duh, man. Consecutive years, I tore my ACL, my Achilles in consecutive years, and still help a team win a championship. It hurt hearing that, because it's like, man, I put in so much freaking effort to get back to this point. Like, it's hard to even put into words what I had to do to be the player I am today. And it's like, played 57 games in 3 years. Like, give me some freaking time to get that back, and just hear someone say, oh, he's not the same as he was prior to the injuries. Like, duh. Like, who goes through something like that and comes back? I don't know. It just hurt my heart hearing that. But you know what? I'm going to internalize it, and it's going to be fuel for me to be even better. And I think I'm very proud of what we accomplished last year, and I feel like I was a huge part of it. I'm not going to let these injuries be a crutch for me. I'm just going to keep going, and I'm going to have a great year. I bet on that.
We go live to Mark Grandy for last year's playoff minute-by-minute update.
You're right. Klay Thompson, number one on the Warriors, minutes played, 792. Andrew Wiggins, second, 767. Steph Curry, third, 764.
How about that? I mean, that alone, Klay, should let you know that everything that you want to get back, there's an avenue to it. Hopefully it can happen. But that alone, that the man who returned late in the season still gave more minutes in the postseason than anyone else who made it through the entire year basically unscathed. That's something else. Really is. I can't say Steph made it through the whole year unscathed, obviously. He didn't even start against the Denver Nuggets for some games. But that's still impressive. It really is.
No, I mean, the only thing that he hasn't been able to do since he came back is be the dominant top shelf defender night in and night out that he was used to being. He's still largely got his shot, even though, and we acknowledged this yesterday, he also is prone to streaks where he can't miss and then where he can't make. This, when we look back on it in a month, will probably be one of those, yeah, he had a cold stretch because he does that. So I think maybe, some of this is, he doesn't have enough good games to feel good about yet. It just, he started cold. And even last night, with 19 points, he was still 6 for 19. So it's not like he's nailing it. I just think he's a guy who is in the moment so much that the bigger picture sometimes will evade him.
And notice he didn't get, he didn't take any cheap shots. He didn't start measuring his ring count against Charles's ring count, which is just low-hanging fruit that any player who's won a championship can lord over Charles Barkley. By the way, before Klay even got to that point about Charles Barkley, he was having an otherwise very normal press conference where he was talking about what the hell just happened, by the way, in Phoenix. And he was asked about telling Devin Booker all night long, like, I got 4 rings, and here's what Klay Thompson said about that.
I'm not sure. I mean, it sounds like I was stating facts, but honestly, I don't really remember. Pretty much blacked out and was just in a very angry place at the time, and sometimes it feels good to let out all that frustration. It really does. It's better than holding it in.
There you go. I blacked out. I was just screaming 4 rings so much.
And Booker acknowledged as much.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all's fair in smack talk. They didn't. Neither one of them got personal. Neither one of them got particularly nasty. It's just you will bark at a guy and he will bark back at you. The young guy's trying to take what the older guy has already achieved. So they seem untroubled by it. So I think that's probably well past in the rearview mirror.
Xfinity Mobile text line says, hey, talk about his defense of Tyler Hero. Yeah, look, he played well. He played well. Hero did not have a very good game last night. And by the way, Steph Curry, oh my God, just shook him.
Got it to Thompson, back to Curry, chased by Hero. Curry with a dribble, crossover, takes the jumper, 3-ball Curry! Ridiculous.
The blender. Put him in it. That was when Steph is feeling it, man. Oh, what a show. He was feeling it.
Draymond to Curry, right at midcourt. 5 seconds to shoot. Curry dribble, drive on Butler all the way. Scoop to the hoop. It's up and good. No weak side help coming over for Miami. And Curry gives the Warriors an 8-point lead. 113 to 105. The Heat will call time.
By the way, Steph is also off to a pace of made 3-pointers that would have him, if he stayed on this pace, break his single-season 3-point record. He was cooking last night, 7 of 14. Tim Roy.
Curry comes up, screens for Wiggins. He gets downhill, toss over to Curry. Design play, corner 3, up no good. Rebound, Draymond out to Thompson. Good catch. Back to Steph. Fakes and fires. Hit another 3. Stephen Curry.
Look, it's real simple, boys and girls, even though they got sloppy with the basketball, and they did, especially that third quarter, man. That got a little sloppy, right? Warriors can pretty much be as sloppy as they want when the team essentially goes out and shoots the holy grail of a shooter's night, which is 50, 40, 90. 50% from the floor, 40% from downtown, 90% from the free throw line. When one or two players can do that, you're having one or two guys cooking. When the entire team does that, and the Warriors basically did last night. The Warriors shot 50% from the floor, 39% from three, so off by 1 percentage from 40, and 87% from the free throw line. You can kick it away 19 times when your entire team is essentially a Hall of Fame shooter that night.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, the Warriors are always a high turnover team. And I'm sure that Steve Kerr would like there to be fewer turnovers. But, which guy is he going to kick off the roster to make that happen? This is who they are. This is who they've been for 8 years now. So whoever is still annoyed by that is probably going to have to get over it because, it's part of their DNA. They do things with the basketball. They keep the basketball moving, and when the basketball moves, sometimes it moves to a place where you're not.
It's basically like getting mad at Jimmy Garoppolo for not seeing that third read. Like, you should expect that by now.
That's kind of different. But I appreciate the fact that you were working hard to get him in.
888-957-9570. Let's get Brian in Palo Alto in. Brian, what do you got?
Yeah, two things. First, I'd say Charles Barkley, I know Klay didn't pull out 4 rings on Barkley, but Barkley is one of the best losing NBA players in history. And Klay locked down defensively in the finals last year against Tatum and Brown, and that was one more game of lockdown defense than Charles ever played in his entire life. So, I mean, who cares what Barkley has to say? Second, I would say with the Niners and Shanahan, they protect this training staff. There's certain decisions they make where they should just admit that they made a mistake and eat it, but they have too much pride for that, I guess would be a good way to put it. Like this training staff, like Javon Kinlaw, like other guys, right, that everyone knows they're not going to come through for him, but because they were a high pick or because they were picked by this staff, like this training staff, but, I mean, this training staff cannot get guys back on the field, right? Like, it's not just the injuries that happen in the game. Like, Armstead's been out for, 4 weeks with plaster fasciitis, which is not an injury you should miss too much for. So, yeah, I mean, their loyalty to their guys is one of the weak spots of this organization. Anyways, guys, thanks. Have a great weekend.
Brian, thank you. I heard this concept brought up, I think it was Chris Biederman on the Candlestick Chronicles podcast, where he basically, he said it's not that injuries occur because it's a football team, so of course injuries occur, but recovery time and setbacks seem to dot every single injury that also happens with the Niners at a frequency that just has to, without even knowing why to raise your eyebrow, you kind of have to raise an eyebrow.
Well, I'm always amused by people who, aren't doctors or trainers and who have never examined any of these injuries that they like to complain about. Unless somebody can show me that their recovery times are drastically longer than every other team in the league, and that it's been that way year after year after year, I don't think anybody knows what they're talking about.
And I don't know if the Niners are doing themselves any favors by all of a sudden, coming out of the game, not really talking about a Deebo Samuel injury in any way, shape, or form. Then it's sort of showing up on the practice report saying he's just not practicing this week, which you figured, all right, well, that's a Veterans Day off, no real big deal there. And then all of a sudden, wait, no, he's hurt, he's out. I mean, it just...
Here's the thing, though. It's now 6 years of the Shanahan-Lynch era. And when coaches and general managers are around that long, their interest in helping the media out tends to diminish after time. They were more open about injuries 2, 3, 4 years ago. They are not that open anymore.
I think it's because they know it's like a point of exposure a little bit.
Yeah, I think they're just tired of it. I think we don't have to tell those guys anything. We have to do the injury report, and that's all we have to do. The idea of unfettered cooperation, I mean, that's done. And it's normal that that's done. It's not great because it does put them in situations like this. But I also don't think they care about the situations. I don't think they care that people are irked by this because it's not their problem. No,
the only thing the Niners need to worry about is winning football games.
Exactly. So, when you assume that, well, these things are happening because the training staff is incompetent. No, you have no basis for that. What you've got a basis for is you didn't know that he was hurt when he was hurt. And that's because nobody told you. And nobody is breaking down the games that granularly because nobody knows when, in fact, the injury happened. The only thing we know is the last time he was involved materially with the play was the second play of their last series when other starters were already being pulled out. So he was still playing that.
Right. Brock Purdy time was upon the entire team at that point. So who knows if he got pulled off the field and didn't return due to injury or what. I mean, obviously, we were talking about this, how did he hurt himself? And Mark Randy brilliantly today during our pre-show prep said it was probably during the football game.
Duh.
Which is right. Yeah. It probably was. Again, that Oregon education is tough to shake a stick at.
For more analysis like that, check out the 415ers podcast.
There you go. Can Evan bring it like that too? Might have been the football game. Might have been the football game where the football player might have hurt himself in the football. But no, you're right. It probably was the football game.
Grandy can strangle you without leaving his chair. He could just start fiddling with knobs and you won't be heard from again.
That's
in a very real way.
That would leave it all up to you, though, Ray. Are you ready to do all that heavy lifting?
Best of.
Have we generated any best of yet today?
Oh, I don't. It doesn't have to be good.
Oh,
it just has to be best of whatever we've done.
Just best of that.
Yeah. We'll just play the first 37 minutes of the show four or five more times.
Just loop that bad boy.
They keep telling us that, the audience churns over. It turns over pretty quickly. Well, then they won't know the difference. The only guy who will know the difference is Nahigian, and he's probably left by now.
Shanahan already on that injury report.
Armstead will be out. Debo will be out. Juszczyk is out. Greenlaw's out. Veretta's questionable. Juwan Jennings is questionable.
Man, I thought that Jason Verrett was really tracking towards playing. I thought he'd be a little bit better than questionable. But okay, questionable means he might go.
But see, there you go again. Not enough information, which leads people to speculate. And what this tells me is 49ers don't care if you speculate or not. Knock yourselves out.
So the good news is like, so you skip this game, you got a whole bye week. That should make everything okay with Debo, right, Kyle?
It's not a precaution. I mean, he's not good enough to go. Since the fact that he even had a chance means hopefully he'll be good with a week off and ready for the next game.
Yeah, hopefully so. Now, here is something that I believe the kids might describe as a hot take. I'm not trying to make it a hot take. I'm not trying to be provocative in any way, shape, or form here. And ultimately, let me play this, let me give you the... Let me pre-send the text that everyone was about to send me if I say something like this. Obviously, for the 49ers to be the best version of themselves, they want Debo Samuel out there. I don't know if they need Debo Samuel to play a good football game this year. I don't think they need Debo Samuel out there to play a good football game this week, is maybe the better way to say it. Because at the end of the year, when it's the playoffs, you want as many weapons as you got to fire at the enemy. He's a weapon to fire at the enemy. His weapon has not been nearly as destructive this year to the enemy as it was last year. Debo had a really big catch and run against the Rams. He had a really big run against the Seahawks. That's about it, kids. That's about it. He has not produced much. Debo Samuel is producing like a wide receiver who is somewhere in that 35th to 45th best at the position range. Like, what he has done should be replaceable for Kyle Shanahan and the Niners. I mean, just getting another good week out of both George Kittle and Brandon Ayuk, mixing in more Christian McCaffrey. That should be enough to move the ball, move the sticks, and score a few points against a Rams team that you have thoroughly handled over the last 4 years of football.
Except that when they got what they got, they still ended up with only 23 points. They need all the weapons they can get. They won't have them again this week, but
they should be used to that by now.
They should be. Well, being used to it doesn't mean it's good. So I still think they would like to have Samuel back as quickly as possible, if for no other reason than to figure out what the right rhythm is for an offense that might, for the first time all year, have all its weapons.
Not this time. Nope. Hopefully after the bye week is when they'll get it. Somebody says, do we have to use all of these metaphors? Are they really our enemies or just the other team? Delmore, shut up. Thank you.
That seemed harsh.
Yeah, it's exactly the point I wanted to make.
Well, evidently, since
you don't go criticizing the metaphors on this show. We protect the metaphors on this show more than anything else. Go listen to the George Carlin baseball is life, football is death routine. It'll all make sense.
Which is genius.
Absolute genius. 888-957-9570. We're going to use that phone to call Ramona Shelburne, who's going to join us. We're going to talk some Warriors, some NBA with her. And since she does call the City of Angels her home, maybe a little bit on the 49ers and Rams, too. I know she did a lot of sports talk radio this week down at ESPN LA. We are broadcasting to you on Twitch, on YouTube. You can bask in the glory of all that is. I hope you enjoy if you are watching. It certainly is a feast for the senses. We are brought to you by Fremont Bank. Full-service banking, no compromises.
The holidays are sneaking up fast.
Ho, ho, bleepin' ho.
So check out our brand new merch store.
I look real good today.
Didn't say I was me, son.
I look real good today.
Damn it! Check it out at 957thegameshop.com. That's 957thegameshop.com.
Why spend hours negotiating with a car salesman to get the best price for a vehicle you want to buy? At BMW of Fairfield, we give you our very best, most competitive price right up front. By eliminating the price negotiation process, we create a comfortable environment that helps our guests enjoy an experience that's often hostile and difficult at other dealerships. There is a better way. Experience it for yourself at BMW of Fairfield. One price, one person, 1 hour.
My husband and I live next door to a haunted graveyard. It's a little creepy, but we manage. Just like we manage without home internet. Do I wish my mobile hotspot was faster? Yes, but I make it work. Kinda. Just like we make it work sleeping next to a 17th century burial ground.
Honey, can you move your hand?
That's not my hand.
It's mine.
Not having home internet? It's not that bad. Grab my hand.
Wait, okay.
No, not up the stairs. We tried that last time. You can literally run through him.
It is that bad. Don't settle for just mobile. Get Xfinity Home Internet for just $24.99 a month for 2 years with no annual contract and a free streaming box included. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit your local Xfinity store today. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. After 24 months, regular rates apply. Offer ends 12/21/22.
Everything, our farm, our stand, our pop-up shop, it really all started when we discovered the benefits of local, raw honey for our family.
And then we decided to turn it into a business.
We were looking for something to help us get up and running.
So we got the Chase Business Complete Banking Account.
It's more than a bank account. It comes with Quick Accept, which lets us take card payments anytime, anywhere in the U.S. using the Chase mobile app. Plus, we get same-day deposits at no extra cost. For us, it's more than honey. It's about sharing a little sweetness with the world.
Get the Chase Business Complete Banking Account with the essentials you need to help get your business going. Learn more at chase.com/business-complete-banking. Chase for business. Make more of what's yours. Quick Accept is not available in U.S. territories. Enrollment required. Usage subject to approval. Same-day deposits available for payments before 8 p.m. Eastern Time, Sunday to Friday. Fees and rates apply for checking and processing. Limitations and restrictions apply. Participants compensated. Merchant services provided by Payment Tech LLC and WePay Inc. Subsidiaries of J.P. Morgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC.
Kirby is your driveway mechanic. They bring the shop to you with brake replacements, oil changes, washes, and so much more. Get $50 off your first oil change with code OIL50 at Kirby.com. That's CURBEE.com and use code OIL50.
Are you curious about who offers the best deals on top-rated Samsung, LG, and Sony TVs? The answer is surprising. It's not online, and it's not the warehouse clubs. The best deals on top-rated TVs are at Video Only. Don't believe it? Then check out the trade-in deals at Video Only. How about $500 for your old TV? Try doing that online. Before you buy that new TV, drop into video only. If you don't, you'll be sorry.
Are you kidding me? Gas prices are up again? Somebody has to do something.
Well, someone did. That's why I use Upside.
Upside? What's that?
It's a free app that pays you back real money for every gallon of gas or diesel you buy. I just earned 25 cents back on every gallon of this tank.
Hold on. So the Upside app is free and you actually get cash back every time you use it? No strings attached?
Yep, it's awesome. Check it out. It only takes a couple of minutes to sign up.
Instead of just watching your dollars go into your tank, start putting money back into your wallet with the free app from Upside. With the price of gas today, it's big news and big money. To cash out of your Upside cash, just transfer it to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card. Upside users have already earned over $200 million. Now it's your turn. Download the free Upside app and get cash back on every gallon of gas. Use promo code GOLF for an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first fill-up. That's code GOLF. Use code GOLF for an extra 25 cents per gallon back in your first fill-up. Cashback's not available in gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Hey, this is Kenny Mayne, host of something called Hey Maine. That's a podcast. We're working busily on season 2, but let's not forget about season 1. Remember Roy Wood Jr.?
Wow, opening for Ron White. I've arrived. He's such a nice man. Maybe he wants a ride. Maybe he wants me to drop him off at the American Airlines terminal. Roy, I have a private jet. My pilot hangs with me like my homeboy.
If you missed that episode of Hey Maine, check it out on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Research shows listeners prefer a personalized experience. So to help you remember, Liberty Mutual customizes your home insurance. We personalized this ad for Amber, who really misses boy bands from the 90s.
Hey girl, I'm the cute one, here to tell you how Liberty Mutual customizes your home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
I'm the heartthrob. The only thing I love more than you is saving. And I'm the other boy in the band everyone forgot about.
Just happy to be here. Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
When I can't sleep, my mind just races. I think about work, the kids, but I don't think about taking melatonin because I'm afraid I'll feel groggy in the morning.
ZzzQuil Pure Z's Gummies has an optimal dose of melatonin for no next day grogginess, so you can fall asleep naturally and wake up feeling refreshed. ZzzQuil Pure Z's Gummies for better sleep like never before. And try Pure Z Sleep plus Next Day Energy with melatonin plus extended release B vitamins.
Now back to Damon and Ratto on 95.7 The Game.
It's good to have you here on a Friday. Obviously, the 49ers got a big one coming up. It's SoFi. It's a big one. It's just you got to go undefeated in your division, and you got yourself a 66% chance to win the playoffs, starting 3-0 in the NFC West. Lose on Sunday, all of a sudden it drops to 33%. Still plenty of time out there, but, make it easy on yourself for the first time this year. 49ers, we dare you. The Golden State Warriors made it a little easy on themselves last night, getting a win over the Miami Heat before they head out to a 5-game road trip that, even though it's on the East Coast, it doesn't have the Nets, the Bucks, the Celtics, the Sixers in it, but it's no easy task. They got a 5-game roadie with a couple of back-to-backs in it coming up to talk a little bit about the Warriors, the NBA, something that Klay Thompson was talking about last night, being a little hurt feelings from Charles Barkley. We're very happy to welcome in Ramona Shelburne here to 95.7 The Game. It's been a very long time since we said hello, Ramona. Thank you for joining us here on Damon and Ratto. How you doing?
I'm good. Yeah, it has been a minute. I went and had a baby in the meantime.
Congrats on the Bambino.
Thanks.
Regret it yet?
They are nice. They are nice. Oh boy.
I have a friend of mine who has a newborn and just described his brand new child simply as a pooping alarm clock. I thought that was pretty. That's kind of accurate.
Yeah.
That's what they are.
No, my little dude's kind of a gassy baby, like man-sized farts, and you're like, that was the baby. I'm telling you, that was it.
Very nice.
Yeah,
very nice.
Yeah, no, he's actually really good. As babies go, like, I can handle farts, but that's a hard one.
Well, congratulations. I'm glad that you are an expert in that category.
Yeah.
And really, congrats from all of us here. And it's great to have you back. And we got ourselves an NBA season that's underway here. And, the Warriors have not exactly burst out of the gates in any way, shape, or form. It feels like the punch that Draymond threw is now officially in the rearview mirror, and now getting some basketball legs underneath them is what they want to go out and do. Just early returns on the Golden State Warriors. What are some of your impressions, Ramona?
It's always harder to repeat. I mean, last year I thought their motivation was pretty clear, and everyone was hungry and focused, and it's easy to get up when you've been one of the worst teams in the league the 2 years before that, right? Like, they just didn't have their guys. Finally, you get everyone back injury-wise, and there was a belief, like, if everybody got back, that they could make a run at it. And this year, the harder part is, okay, now what's the motivation? Like, what is the focus and what is the overarching thing that centers the team? Because I think what the Warriors do better than probably any team in the league, and which is why they've had such a dominant run the last decade or so, is they find a way to center themselves at the right time. It may not be all season long. Like, there's definitely parts of the season where they'll drift a little bit, like any team, but they find a common cause and purpose. And I don't know what this one's going to be. I mean, this one feels like gravy in a way. Like, they got 4 rings, that core group, and maybe eventually this takes on a Last Dance quality. Maybe it takes on a let's really get up into the upper echelon of the record books in the NBA of great dynasties. I mean, it's hard enough to build it once, but then to rebuild it, and you got to get more than just one, right? The really great dynasties have 2 eras, so maybe this is the second championship in that era. I don't know. They have to find that, and I think the early returns on them is just incomplete. I mean, they've had a couple of games. I was up there for the Denver game. It was okay, right? But they didn't come out strong in the first half. But nothing was concerning. It was just, it looked like a team that's going to take a little while to find itself.
From the national viewpoint, their idea of this 2-track roster where they're trying to stockpile young players to be able to inherit the mantle en masse in a couple of years. What's the national view on that? How risky it is, how difficult it is to pull that off? Or do they think it's just brilliance and it's all going to work out in the end?
Well, the franchise has been able to do that as the Spurs. They have this baton pass every 3 or 4 years. Maybe it's even a little further stretched out. It's every 4, 5, 6 years. And they had a 2-decade run with passing the baton to the next generation. It's not easy to do, but I thought the contracts they signed Jordan Poole and Andrew Wiggins to were unbelievably team friendly. I mean, it's good for both those guys, but they put those contracts put the Warriors in position to actually pull this off, to pull off that baton pass with minimal collateral damage. There might be some collateral damage. I'm not sure all 4 of the key guys are going to go into the next year. Andre Iguodala's already said this is really the last year, but see what happens with Draymond and Klay. But financially speaking, that Wiggins contract was an incredibly team-friendly deal. But said, I think, a lot more about him than anybody realized. I mean, he really couldn't get paid on the open market. He took this deal. Jordan Poole, especially with what he was going through after the Draymond incident, signing that deal where he could have pushed it, he could have gone out on the open market, and then the whole season was clouded by it, by not getting it done when they did. I thought that was a great sign for them going forward, because both of those guys could have got more on the open market, but they found a team and a culture they want to stay with, and you just don't see that very often in the NBA. And when you say the two-track construction here, it takes players buying in, and it takes players leaving a little on the table to make it work, which we saw all those years in San Antonio. So they talked him into it. Is a good sign.
Ramona Shelburne covers the NBA for ESPN here. Good to have her on 95.7 The Game for the first time in a long time, and you have covered this league so long, Ramona. You know that no player likes to expose any hurt feelings or actually share some vulnerability, usually with the media, which made what Klay Thompson had to say about some pointed criticisms from Charles Barkley just something that we've considered kind of interesting, because, it's not often athletes expose themselves and dive into like the fact that, hey, my feelings got hurt. I'd like to play a little of what Klay Thompson said and then get your reaction to it, if you would, please.
I got one thing to say. So, it hurts when someone like Charles Barkley, with the platform he has, says you're not the same player prior to the injuries you have. It's like, no duh, man. Consecutive years, I tore my ACL and my Achilles in consecutive years and still help a team win a championship. I mean, it hurt hearing that because it's like, man, I put in so much freaking effort to get back to this point. Like, it's hard to even put into words what I had to do to be the player I am today. And it's like, played 57 games in 3 years. Like, give me some freaking time to get that back and just hear someone say, oh, he's not the same as he was prior to injuries. Like, duh. Like, who goes through something like that and comes back? I don't know. It just hurt my heart hearing that. But you know what?
So, Ramona, you're very, very dialed in. Have you ever heard anything, inside information about exactly how hard this has been for Klay to go through, to kind of overcome, even though he's already returned and won a ring? It still feels like it hurts. He admitted to it. It hurts.
Well, every once in a while we're actually working on a story where you kind of hear some. I'm actually working on a story with Klay right now, talking about everything he's been through, and the fact that it does hurt. And I think what's interesting about Klay is sometimes as a writer you start off with a premise of, here's what I think the story is about. And when I went into this thinking it was, okay, this is about a guy trying to get back to a level, but it's also a guy trying to recapture a feeling, a team trying to recapture a feeling of how things used to be when things were great, when he was great, Klay was an Iron Man before he got hurt. Like, he didn't miss games. He the most he ever had was a Charlie horse or an ankle or something here and there. Never had serious injuries before these 2 injuries. He prided himself on playing almost all the games every year. And so these are kind of a challenge to your self-concept of of who he is. But the more I've been around Klay and the more I've kind of reported on the story, and especially hearing that last night, I don't think that the job for him is trying to get back to what he was. I think it's trying to adapt and appreciate what he is now. I mean, it's not all about when you take as a fact, like, you're not going to be what you were. Like, you're just not. And rather than pretend like that's the option, like, he's not going to ever be the same Klay Thompson. Like, of course he's going to be different, but he's different, but he's going to get close to it, and he appreciates even being back there. Like, I remember talking to him the other day, and I like just doing laundry on my day off. Like, just having any kind of movement, any kind of ability to walk without a boot on, and to not need your mom's help or your dad's help to get up and down the stairs. And that's like an appreciation that you can't have for just the small things unless you've been through what he's been through. And I think what he's been through, that gratitude he feels now, I think it's contagious for the rest of the team. Everyone you talk to about Klay, they don't feel there's a sorrow like, oh, you lost 2 years of your prime, but there's also just a respect for him and an appreciation for what they have still. I mean, it's so rare to come back after one of those injuries, let alone both. And guess what? Who led the Warriors in minutes in the finals last year? Klay Thompson. Like, the guy got back. Maybe he wasn't the same guy. Maybe he won't be the same type of player, but he's going to be pretty darn close. And I think the ways that he changed as a person and as a player, you may not notice the slight bit of him that's not the same as a player, right? I mean, he's grown in other ways that I think will help them and be contagious around. And that's what I thought he was getting at. And it was this sort of like, why do you have to compare me to what I was before? He's 95% of what he was before. It's still pretty damn good.
Ramona Shelburne joining us here on 95.7 The Game. But before Ray wraps it up, we have to introduce and welcome everybody to their 4 o'clock hour on a Friday afternoon.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM and HD1 San Francisco. Always live on Twitch, YouTube, and the free Odyssey app. Damn well better be free. When does Russell Westbrook get traded to the Warriors?
To the Warriors?
I'm thinking they have as much a chance as any other team because it looks like he is now. I don't know what his market is anymore.
Oh, there's no market.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I would. There's okay. Literally, I don't like to say things with certainty, but I will say this with certainty: there is no way Russell Westbrook would ever be traded to the Warriors right now. No.
Well, I wasn't. I was being facetious, but is he going to be traded at all? Does anybody want what's left of him yet?
It's not. Those are two different questions. Could he be traded, and does anybody want him on their team? Those are two different questions, right? Because you can be traded and then not actually play for the team you're traded to. I think that is more likely. But I'm not convinced that they don't just ride this out. You know, the $47 million that comes off the books, and unless they can find a deal where they don't have to incentivize someone to take that much money by including one of their draft picks, like I don't know that they do anything. I think it's $47 million. They're set up to have about $30 million in cap space next summer. I mean, there's a sense that they can do other things around the team to improve them this year that don't involve incentivizing someone to take that money off the books. And there's unless there's somebody you really want, unless there's somebody who can return, but all the names that you hear, they have money left on their deal for next year too, and that doesn't fit with what the Lakers have set themselves up for, which is to be players in free agency next summer. So I think you write it out. Now, how much longer he is a part of the team and playing every night, I don't know. We'll see. That's how he takes this demotion to the second team is going to tell us a lot about what comes next.
We'll just wrap up with this, Ramona. Do you ever think you'd live in a world where any NBA team was worth $7 billion?
Ooh. They might be worth more than that, by the way. Like, those valuations are just valuations. But,
open market, they're getting 8. I think so, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like it's just, it's like going on Zillow and being like, well, my house is listed at this. Zillow. Well, your house is what somebody will actually pay for it. It's not what Zillow says it is. And I think right now, I've heard some stuff going on with the Suns, and it's like, I don't really think the Suns are worth what they're probably going to sell for, which is north of 3. But you're worth what somebody will pay for it. Because as somebody pointed out to me once, like, there's only 30 of these. And there's like 30 beachfront homes, and they don't come open for sale very often. And when they do, there's a lot of billionaires out there who want them. But I think the Warriors are self-reward in that one because they have the Chase Center, which is it's just this funny name that it's literally an ATM. It's literally an ATM. Their revenues are pretty good for a team that's worth as much. And so I think I think I would live in an era? No, but it's probably worth even more than that. Somebody would probably pay more than that.
Ramona, thank you so much for joining us. Great to talk to you again. Congrats on Bambino. If you can get him over to SoFi to play running back for the Rams, I think they could use a little depth. So,
I mean, it's like, well, they can use an offensive line too. It's like between the running backs and the offensive line, like they are not what they used to be.
Things change fast in sports. They certainly do. Thank you so much. It was great catching up with you.
Thanks, boys.
Ramona Shelburne, ESPN, covers the NBA. Nice to say hello for the first time in a long time. Ray, who is the Rams running back right now? Even care to wager?
It's Darrell Henderson, I believe.
Well, Darrell Henderson. So here's the thing. You are right about that. Darrell Henderson Jr. is running back 1, but he is listed as questionable. So Cam Akers is still listed as their second running back, and he is out with future to be determined, shall we say. So Malcolm Brown, their third string running back, is the only name that doesn't appear with an injury designation next to it. So maybe that's one thing that Kyle Shanahan can count on. A very angry defense based on the way it just played last weekend, and a team that really doesn't have much of an offensive line or a running game to speak of, which by definition makes you one-dimensional.
Well, that'll explain why there's so much money being bet on the 49ers this week. I mean, it's huge.
It is, to the point where if you were just fading the public based on public interest, that could come up a little bit later on in the show.
I thought it might.
Look at you teasing ahead, Ray.
I wasn't teasing ahead, but
let me dream.
Nobody looks at the Rams and says, man, they're squared away. And in fact, it reminds me that Peter King was burying them in week 2. So he saw things that have come to fruition and that now other people are glomming onto.
And that was like 3 offensive line injuries ago, by the way.
Yeah, they're a disaster.
They really are. Hey, one more thing, only because I know that Joe Fortenbaugh is going to be joining us in about 10 minutes here. Always great to catch up with Joe. We will regale you with ESPN celebrity stories, Vegas sightings, and, all the gambling that you could shake a stick at. So Joe Fortenbaugh for the billions coming up in just a little bit. Did you see what Adrian Wojnarowski tweeted earlier today?
Yes, I did.
Quote from Woj, this is an actual Woj bomb. This isn't some bum
This is an
trade.
actual legitimate thing that's got serious impact to it. It's not one of those agent whispered in my ear things.
Right. This isn't Anthony Davis isn't playing tonight, which, by the way, Anthony Davis isn't playing tonight as the Lakers go to Minnesota. So good luck with that, LeBron. In the wake of large market contenders, Golden State, Brooklyn, and the Los Angeles Clippers running up massive payrolls and luxury tax penalties, the NBA is proposing a system that would place a luxury tax with a hard limit that teams could not exceed to pay salaries, according to a source. The league's proposal has been met with firm resistance by the NBPA, that is the NBA Players Association, to the point of the union considering an absolute non-starter in future discussions. Well, they will never agree to anything that restricts the ability to pay players as much as possible. And this is what it would do. It is a punishment for teams who think that they can go out and just buy a championship. It's also punishment to a team like the Golden State Warriors that drafted so well that acquired through a normal how you grow a team process future Hall of Famers from keeping them together. It would be a huge change in how business is done across the NBA to the point where if something like this were ever agreed to, Ray, they'd need to put it out like 3, 4, 5 years from now and grandfather in all current business transacted up to this point. It would be such a radical departure from the way the NBA is doing business right now.
Yeah, well, there's a group of owners that have been pushing for a hard cap for forever. They've hated, the bird rule. They've hated the repeater rights. They've hated all of those, and they want what the NFL has and what the NHL has, which is a hard cap. You can't go over it. Never mind the tax. You have to shed salary, period. So this seems like it's aimed at the Warriors when in fact it's really aimed at somebody like Stephen Curry who's going to make $59 million in the last year of his contract.
Underpaid.
Maybe, but not to a guy who's not paying him. He just says, I don't ever want to have to pay any of my guys that. It's more an idea toward Ted Leonsis in Washington, who laid out tons of money for John Wall and then Bradley Beal and got no return for it. They don't want to get caught paying guys $40 million who didn't pan out the way they thought they would when they gave it to them. It's them trying to make...
So don't give that contract.
I understand. I'm
right. I know what you're trying to explain to the audience.
This is what they're after. And it's less about Joe Lacob than it is about, I don't want to be in that situation. It's not about winning. It's about keeping money down because that's what a salary cap is. It's not about money management. It's about salary depreciation. And that's what they're after. And they've gone after this before and haven't gone anywhere. And now with the new TV deal that's going to come in the next couple of years, I cannot imagine how the union will cave on it.
I think it would be the number one catalyst to a future NBA lockout.
Oh, it would be.
Or a player's strike even. I mean, this is a hill you die on if you're a players association.
Oh, yeah, because the argument is not we're losing money. The argument is we don't want to give you any of the increased money that we're going to get. It's literally saying we don't like you anymore. And I think that would be a catalyst. That would actually be the drop dead. We're not coming into work then. And whether it's a lockout or a strike would remain to be seen, but the effect would be the same.
You know what it really is, too? It's just protecting the rich from having to behave like actually the less rich. Let me explain. Number one rich owner in the NBA is
Steve Ballmer, yes.
That's right. $75.6 billion, followed by Dan Gilbert, $44.8. He owns the Cavaliers. After that, Paul Allen, $2.30. He owns $1 billion.
Well, he does.
The Allen family, yes.
And they've been talking about getting out. So
Joe Tsai, 14.2. He owns the Nets. Robert Parra, 14.1. Who's he own?
Memphis.
Memphis, thank you very much. Phil Anschutz, 10.1 bill. Who's he?
Who does he own? He's the guy who owns Staples Center before they. I mean, he's been an LA guy for years. I'm not sure who he owns.
Well, here's the thing. Stan Kroenke, $8.3 billion. He owns the Nets. Mickey Arison, $5.9 billion. He owns the Miami Heat. And we can keep on going and going. And Richard DeVos, $5.4 billion. Mark Cuban, $4.2 billion. Tillman Fertitta, $4.1 billion. You got to go down. Michael Jordan is worth more than Joe Lacob's personal wealth. Joe Lacob is the 25th richest owner in the NBA, listed at $1.2 billion.
Not to interrupt.
And he is willing to put his money out there in a way that guys with 75 times that aren't.
Yeah. Phil Anschutz is a very minority owner of the Lakers. He's by no means their guy.
Fair enough. But it's just,
it's a small investment for him.
Right. What I'm saying is that all you got to do is want to win way more than half these NBA owners want to win, and you start swimming and playing on the deep end of the pool. Get down on your hands and knees every day of the week, Warriors fans, and thank whatever God you pray to that Joe Lacob and Peter Guber are the guys who own the Golden State Warriors, because they behave in abnormal ways, which keeps a winner winning. Speaking of winners winning, Joe Fortenbaugh making money for the world, coming up next here on 95.7 The Game. If you have not already, subscribe to Damon and Ratto on the Odyssey app today.
Brought to you by On Deck Small Business Loans.
When you own a small business, sometimes you need funds fast. So go to OnDeck.com, America's largest online small business lender. OnDeck makes it easy to apply in minutes. Apply for your loan today at OnDeck.com.
Cash Creek Casino Resort is the place for the biggest names and the very best in live entertainment. On November 5th, catch multi-Grammy Award winners Train. Then on November 12th and 13th, experience America's Game in person when Wheel of Fortune Live takes the stage. This is your time to cash in at Cash Creek Casino Resort. Find tickets and see our full lineup at cashcreek.com.
The Eagles Hotel California Tour.
Welcome to the Hotel California.
Live in concert with a full orchestra. Performing their iconic album Hotel California, beginning to end, plus a greatest hit set. The Eagles.
One of these nights.
SAP Center at San Jose, February 21st. Get tickets now at Ticketmaster.com.
Listen, could Gregory change your life?
I went from size 44 pants back to the size 38 pants that I had worn when I was in college. Now, the 38-inch pants fall off of me. I lost the weight. I felt better. I've lost 63 pounds and 6 inches of pant size. God bless you for having this product and having it at a reasonable price.
Outstanding. Gregory is 70 and lost belly fat and 6 inches off his waist in 5 months. Since 2004, Andro 400 has been helping men like you lose belly fat, gain energy, and improve their lifestyle. We guarantee it. Go to andro400.com for more true testimonials, before and after photos, and special discounts. Only available on andro400.com. andro400.com.
Score big with Xfinity Internet. It's made to do anything, so you can do anything. Supercharge your home with the game-changing speed of supersonic Wi-Fi. With 3 times more bandwidth, it covers the field and then some. And blocks billions of threats with advanced security that helps keep you protected at home and on the go. If you're keeping score, that's internet that does it all. That's unbeatable internet from Xfinity. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas.
Golfers, tee it up this fall at the Golf Mart for big savings. Save up to $150 off on Ping G425 woods. Upgrade your gear with discounted Wilson standard cart golf bags. And stock up on TaylorMade Distance Plus golf balls. Now 2 dozen for $35. Don't miss these items and more happening now at the Golf Mart. And get a free custom fitting today. The Golf Mart, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee. Or shop us online at worldwidegolfshops.com.
Are you interested in new career opportunities in the Bay Area and want to make a difference in your community? The San Francisco Sheriff's Office is looking for people considering a job in law enforcement right now. If you're at least 20 years or older with a high school diploma or equivalent, the San Francisco Sheriff's Office wants to hear from you. Enjoy full benefits, flexible schedules, and opportunities for growth and promotion. For employment announcements and more information, visit sfsheriff.com. That's sfsheriff.com to apply today.
You can't always see bad weather coming, so it's essential that you're able to see through it when you drive. Michelin wiper blades with advanced technology hug your windshield like a Michelin tire hugs the road, channeling away water, snow, and ice so you can see clearly, drive confidently, and breathe easy. Michelin wiper performance, clearer than ever. Upgrade to Michelin premium wipers today at Walmart, Amazon, and other fine retailers.
A hot shower should be hot. A Navien tankless water heater makes sure your hot shower is hot or warm or mostly hot, but not quite hot, but warmer than warm. Whether you take it in the morning, after work, doesn't matter. Do you want a quick rinse or a full-on luxurious, I think I'm in heaven spa-length investment of time? Your choice whenever you want it. A Navien tankless water heater keeps your hot water hot. Backed up by Navien's powerful warranty. Get the hot water you need whenever you need it, period. At tanklessmadesimple.com.
90% of golfers slice. And if you're one of them, there's only one reason why. Your club face is open relative to the path of your swing. If you don't fix this, you'll never fix your slice. So how do you do that? Simple. You follow Tiger Woods' former coach Hank Haney's one-shot slice fix. This one-shot fix has fixed over 100,000 amateur golfers' slices. To check it out, visit slicefix.com. Again, that's slicefix.com. Go there now and fix your slice today.
In Santa Rosa, mostly clear overnight, lows near 40.
Weather brought to you by Pfizer and BioNTech. This fall, there are now updated COVID-19 booster shots designed for recent Omicron variants. Learn more and schedule your updated booster at vaccines.gov.
And a little bit of chicken fried. The Zach Brown Band is coming to Oakland Arena on November 6th, and 95.7 The Game wants you to be there.
Wishing I was deep in the water somewhere.
For your shot to win tickets, head to 957thegame.com/contests.
Now back to Damon and Ratto on 95.7 The Game.
It's good to have you back on a Friday afternoon, and even better to have Joe Fortenbaugh back for a little Fortenbaugh Friday. You know him well. He used to walk these hallways. He used to grace these microphones. He used to walk these streets here in San Francisco, but no longer. He's on the Strip. He's on your TV. He is helping you put those kids through college with nothing but winners. He is ESPN's betting analyst, Joe Fortenbaugh. What's up, pal? Thanks for coming on.
This is big. This is really big because anyone who knows me understands we're about 90 minutes or so away from the start of the World Series. Actually, I think it starts sooner than that. And for me to come on knowing my beloved Phillies are starting in a little bit, it speaks to two things. Number one, how much I love you, Damon, how much I love you, Ray. And number two, I wanted to pass along a message to the great people of the Bay Area. Tonight is what championship baseball is all about. You haven't seen it in a long time. You don't understand it. You nickel and dime everybody. Go spend some money, and you can make it to the World Series like the big dogs.
Houston in 5, right?
Yeah, that was a great... I didn't even respond to that text today. I saw that, and I thought to myself, this is not even worth my time to respond to him. He's just trying to troll me. But the Phillies at plus 170, it's appealing. It's appealing. I'll just say this. Everyone's going to call me a homer, and that's fine. But that price is big. That price is based on a narrative that this is a spunky little upstart team that's getting hot at the end of the season, which is true, that part. But let's look at the facts. It's a top 5 payroll. It's a stacked lineup. There are 2 bona fide aces and a solid bullpen. Like, this team has been so disappointing for 3, 5, 10 years that everyone's shocked that they're good. They're supposed to be good. They got a ton of good players. So they're being priced like some little upstart. I'll tell you, though, they are not. They are just finally reaching their potential.
Let me ask a weird question, because you know all about Mattress Mac, the furniture guy in Houston who lays out huge amounts of money on one side or another, usually Houston. Does the money he lays out affect the line in any material way?
I think it can. That's an excellent question. I think it can at some of the books he goes to because he places so much money on it. They take his money because he's not a sophisticated gambler. If he were sophisticated, no way a book's going to let him come in and drop $3 or $5 million. They're willing to take his wagers because they know what he's doing. What he's doing is he's offering these great promotions at his mattress store, and then when he's going in and he's betting the other side so that he's covering himself. He's using sports betting essentially as insurance because he has a massive giveaway if the Astros win, so he might as well make a huge bet. Then if the Astros win, he makes a bunch of cash, but he's giving out a bunch of free mattresses. So he comes out okay in the end, but he gets a ton of free promotion. So he might move the number strictly because the book will say, all right, we just took $2 million from Mattress Mac. We'd probably like a little bit of Phillies money. Let's go ahead and balance the books a little bit. Or the book might say, you know what? We're happy to take his cash. We don't find him to be sophisticated. We're comfortable with our position. Let's go ahead and make some money.
Learn how gambling works with Joe Fortenbaugh here on 95.7 The Game. I got another question. There's a broad question about the NFL season that we're all sitting in right now. With scoring being historically down and the public just hating to bet the under, how much has Vegas already pivoted to all of that happening? And is there any value still remaining there?
So people have started betting more unders, especially in these primetime games, because all you have to do is go on social media on a Thursday night. It obviously hasn't happened the last 2 weeks, but everyone's complaining about how awful the football is, how low scoring the football is.
No one turns the game off, notice. Nobody turns it off.
Yeah, we're all complaining, saying Thursday night's a terrible product, but I'm sitting there with 15 bets, a bottle of wine. I'm watching every minute of it as I'm on Twitter telling everyone how the world should work. But that's, people are starting to come around on some of the unders. But you're going to see a shift here. You're going to see a shift here in making money on overs. It's already starting to happen a little bit. It happened with that Cardinals-Saints Thursday night game, and I think it could happen with the Packers and the Bills on Sunday night because that's Rodgers and Josh Allen, and it's only 47.5. If this is a year ago, that spreads over 50, that number right there. So we were seeing... quick story, early in the season, unders were hitting 70%. You can go back to the 80s, you'll find a season where overs hit 58%, and that's the most dramatic production either side has had in 35 years of keeping track of all of this, right? But it's still only 58%. So if you're at 70%, you're going to have some regression, and that's going to come in the form of the overs. So we should have a decent overs run coming up here in the future.
How much more, though, do the numbers have to come down? Because the last I looked, before last night's game, unders were like 44, 63, and 1, which is like 59%. Are the numbers still artificially high? Do they have to grind them down lower before they get to balance their books that way?
Some of the teams have come down really low. Like, you look at that London game, it was 39 points, and then they announced that Russell Wilson's going to play, so it went up to 40. I don't know why. Even when Russ is healthy, he stinks this year. That's the worst offense in the NFL in terms of scoring, and they've got a good defense. So numbers like that are really low. I think for primetime games, you're seeing lower totals than you would have in the last 20 years. But it will depend on some of the matchup because there are some teams. It's going to get difficult with some of those with Philadelphia because everyone sees them as explosive. But you play Philly in the first half, and then you don't think about it because Philly's the best first-half team in the business. But then in the second half, they throttle down and run the ball, and teams can come back on them. You saw it happen with the Dallas game the last time out. So that's the trend with them. They jump all over everybody. You might want to lay it with them or play their team total over, which is something like maybe, 18 points or something in the first half because they are very explosive in those opening 30 minutes.
The Xfinity Mobile text line would like to know if you have a lock for the billions who are listening right now.
I got one. We're going to go over some college and pro stuff. I'll give you one tomorrow night. ESPN Plus. I'm a company man. You know how I do. Vasily Lomachenko is fighting, and you can bet him to win by stoppage. So all he has to do is win. It just can't go to the cards. It's minus 135. Now, he's like minus 3,000 to win this fight, so you're not going to lay that. But you can lay the 135 on the stoppage. He lost to Teofimo Lopez 2 years ago. He got his shoulder fixed. His last 2 fights out, he has looked fantastic. And he's been fighting in Ukraine, defending his territory.
Do you have any bets on sports that people watch?
Wow, okay. So let's go with football. What would you like? You just want a great football play this weekend? I would play the 3 with the Seahawks over the Giants. Terrible travel spot for the Giants. 3rd road game in 4 weeks. The first of which was in London, the last of which is across the country against Seattle. I know everyone says the Giants deserve more respect. They're fine. They're having a nice season. They're going to win Coach of the Year. Seattle deserves respect, too. At least Seattle goes out and pounds people. The Giants go to Jacksonville and eke by them. So I'd lay the 3 with Seattle. I think that's a solid one right there.
How much did Christian McCaffrey move the 49er line?
So when it came to the futures market, they were sitting around 18-1 to win it, and they dropped to about 16-1. So there was a little bit of movement there. Generally, that's not going to happen with a running back, but given what he can do and given how Kyle Shanahan is viewed with his running game and how he designs an offense and the weapons they already have, this was a running back transaction that was going to make a little bit more noise. There was a slight move to the spread, maybe about a point, because no one was really sure if he was going to play much. So that was kind of the handicap there. But now that you're dealing with the Juszczyk and Debo situation for this weekend, it becomes very interesting because we know Shanahan owns Sean McVay, except if it's an NFC championship game. But then at the same time, the Rams are off the bye. They're starting to get healthier. Very tough game. I would play the under. I think it's about 42.5. Speaking of unders, I'd go under there. I don't really trust that Rams offense very much. They have had big-time trouble protecting their quarterback.
Joe, the holy grail of any handicapper is finding a trend, spotting it before it even happens, and riding the wave while you still got it. I asked you earlier today. I feel like a James Lipton inside the actor studio. Can I talk to Joey courtside, please? We're very
you're more like Zach Galifianakis in between 2 fights.
Thank you very much. Also a huge compliment. So, is there anything that you can glom on to early in this NBA season, specifically if you want to paint in the color of the Golden State Warriors? I know that plays well around here to our listeners, but is there anything in the NBA that you can see, you can spot, which would be like sort of a wave that you think riding throughout the NBA season might be a good idea to ride?
See, that's a difficult question because the NBA season moves in such interesting waves. Early on, you have the feeling out process, so you got to figure out which teams are trying to play, which ones are trying to work through some things. Later in the year, you have tanking. You got players that are on the move. There's a lot to work through, but one golden one. Now, I gave this out yesterday on the show. It missed by half a point. So it lost recently, but the Warriors in the third quarter are still an incredible bet. And that is something that started at 95.7 the game years ago. Like in the gambling world, everybody's on that now. Everybody talks about it like they discovered it. They don't realize that 95.7 was talking about that bet like 5 years ago when it was smashing. Like the Warriors have been smashing third quarters forever. So you can play it before the game or you can play it live. For example, last night's game, it was minus 1.5 against Miami. I bet it pre-flop, to use a poker term, meaning before the game I bet it. They went out there. They only won by a point in the third quarter, so I lost the bet, but that doesn't shy me away. I mean, that thing's going to hit throughout the course of the season. Now's the time to be on it because you don't have everybody talking about it. Once you get to the playoffs, everyone's betting that thing, talking about it everywhere, and then they artificially inflate it because they know the money's coming.
The Lakers have always been a huge home team in Vegas. How much worse does it have to get before they start being listed at the odds that their team demands that they be listed at, which is a long shot?
Okay, so that's fascinating because most books here are still operating under the, well, they can turn it around, well, it's early, it's the Lakers, and you're right, there's a lot of Laker money in this town because there's no NBA team here now. The Lakers were very popular for a very long time, so, close by, tons of money. There's one book in town, it's one of the best in town, it's the Las Vegas Superbook over at the Westgate, okay? Jeff Sherman is one of the odds makers over there. He's got him 100-1. And he has been handling Laker action for years. He's been putting playoff action on the Lakers, props he's been creating for 15 years. Before anyone else was even thinking about yes-no playoffs, he was doing that with the Lakers because he knows the market wants it. He's been very sharp with it. He moved them from 18-1 to 40-1 after the first game of the season when they lost. He's like, these guys look terrible. He moved them to 40-1. He just moved them to 100-1. They're with the Knicks right now. They're near the bottom. So that's one book that you can respect that made a huge move on the Lakers. Everybody else is still toiling away because they know they can get away with it.
Speaking of the Westgate, is that sort of the insider's go-to book across the board with sports, or are there different books for different sports?
So the two to three books you would probably look at that the pros play at would be the Westgate's definitely one of them. They're line originators. There's a lot of books here that just copy numbers, right? They see someone else put up football spreads. They wait until the number gets beat up a little bit by the sharps. Then they put up the number and they take advantage of the market, okay? That happens at too many places. The Westgate originates a lot of stuff. They're very creative with their props as well. Circa Sports, if you follow them at all, they've got an amazing sports book. They've got Stadium Swim, the outside pool sports book area, which is fantastic. They do a lot of great work as well. If you're playing golf props, you'll go to Circa or Westgate. If you're playing props in general, you go to those two places. And then another one at the other end of the strip, the South Point. Jimmy Vaccaro, who's down there, Chris Andrews, who's down there. They originate stuff as well. They get creative and they take sharp money. A lot of places have stopped taking sharp money. They know they can do well just limiting those guys and taking on the suckers. But these books will still take professional money. They're very well respected in the industry.
What is the single most Vegas thing you have done in the last 2 to 3 months?
Oh, wow. I probably should have paid attention to the text you sent about what you were going to be asking me, because I blew that off, and I probably would have had something better prepared for this question. I got to tell you, I am Mr. Not Vegas. Like, I'm coaching T-ball, I'm coaching flag football. I got that during the week. I got games on Saturdays. I try to watch games on Sundays. So I haven't done a ton of stuff on the Strip. I know I've got some friends coming in soon. I'll probably get after it a little bit, but I do not have a fun answer to that question. I am terribly sorry.
All right. Okay.
I should have had something fun, but I'm not cool as I think most people remember from my time in San Francisco.
I'm just going to tell you, make a hole on December 10th. Daddy's coming. So we'll see you there.
Yeah, that's top priority, taking care of you and your friends when they come to town.
Yeah.
Top priority. Don't worry about that.
It's a shame it's not an ESPN game, because that could have been...
Who would have thought Indiana not on ESPN?
Could have been Damon courtside. Oh, no, they're only putting us on Fox Network, the first ever Big Ten. You know, we're going to be okay.
Hey, those games are fun. I went to the Gonzaga-Duke game last year. That was at T-Mobile. That place was packed. Fans from all over the place came in for that. If you guys travel well, that's going to be a really good time.
If you guys travel well.
I'm assuming you will.
Yeah, it always happens. How much did you blow last weekend at the Kids Fall Festival? Did you go north of $1.50 in pumpkins and gourds?
Oh, man, these guys they're getting me for everything. I'll let you in on this, because this will give everyone a good laugh. I have seen like 8 minutes of this entire Phillies postseason run. Like, I have seen like 8 minutes of it between the coaching and everything else. And then here we go. Game 1 of the damn World Series is tonight, and I find out like 3 days ago I've got this double date I'm going on to this sushi restaurant, which I don't even really like sushi all that much. I know everyone's going to yell and scream, sushi's so awesome. It's okay. I just don't love it. So I got to go to this place. It doesn't have TVs. I'm looking at my wife, who you know, sweetheart, but it's like, what are you doing? It's the World Series. Well, these are parents of kids who are in Wyatt's class, and we saw them at the Fall Festival. Don't you remember?
Say, Nikki, would you do this during a Bills game? Would you do this during Bills Chiefs? No, you wouldn't.
No, and the way I treat Bills games like top priority in that household. Top priority. I roll out the red carpet to make sure everyone has what they need for their beloved Buffalo Bills as my two sons slowly gravitate towards them. But that's the beauty of the Philadelphia Eagles right now. They're so red hot. If they end up playing the Bills in the Super Bowl, I'm doomed. I'm absolutely doomed. How do you win that scenario? This is a topic for you to discuss after I get off the phone. It'll carry you through the rest of the show. People will be calling 888-957-9570.
Forward tease.
What do you do if your wife is a fan of the team that plays your squad in the Super Bowl? Because if they win, I lose, and if I win, I lose. Like, I'm losing in both those scenarios. There's no way I can come across clean. I cannot have the Bills and the Eagles meet in the Super Bowl.
book a room. Don't be home. That's it.
I got to come home at some point?
Oh, at some point, but by then it'll blow over. She'll be so mad that you left that she'll be grateful that you came back.
Also, let me throw something out here to you, Raymond. I saw a picture of you the other day. You are looking quite svelte, my friend. Kudos to you. You are looking quite svelte.
It's a tapeworm. I have a serious question before Damon goes back to torturing you.
Go ahead.
What does it look like for Prop 27 here, which is basically the major gambling initiative here? Because everything I read is that it's not going to pass. In which case, is Vegas cheering for that or not?
So I had read the same thing, and I think the most telling sign was that DraftKings and FanDuel, from what I understand, had about $12 million each lined up in advertising leading up to the election, and they both pulled their campaigns. And I think they realized it was the bill was going to be a loser, so why waste the money advertising in California? So I think that's where that's headed as of now. I mean, is it good for Nevada? It probably. You know, a lot of these books are starting to branch out. So, you know, if you're Caesars and you're here, at the same time, you know, you're going to have books across the border. I'll tell you one thing some of us do. This is ridiculous, but DFS. We can't play DFS in this state. So you will have people, or if you want to play on DraftKings and FanDuel with their sports books, you can't play here as well. Those are not licensed operators in Nevada at the current moment. So we drive to either the Hoover Dam or you drive to the California border to cross over, get the internet access, get the IP address, make your bets, and then drive back. That's how a lot of guys operate. You'll see these drives taking place, you know, Saturday night, NFL draft night. Chris the Bear Felica was here for the draft. We're out to dinner at Carbone, and afterwards, he said he's going to the airport. I'm like, the draft's tomorrow. Where are you flying? He goes, I just got to get a car. I'm driving to the Hoover Dam so I can make more draft bets, and then I'm coming back. So you got that action taking place. But, I mean, yeah, it probably hurt a little bit because you have some California people that'll come over to get their action in, but most of these places are franchising anyway. The Superbook's putting shops up everywhere, so they'd probably be all right.
How come the uptick doesn't appear on television?
No one would. I mean, there's only a small audience that would know. Only a small, select few people who would remember such greatness appearing on TV. Plus, then I'd have to explain it to everybody. And you got to understand, where I work, there's so many meetings and so many discussions. It's meeting after meeting after meeting. You can't be bringing anything extra to these meetings, or you're in meetings all day. So, like, if you speak up and you do something, it's like, hey, what was that about? Well, it's something we used to talk about in radio back in the day. Then, boom, it's a whole conversation. There goes 11 minutes. I just don't have it. I got to get through the day in one piece.
Man's time is valuable. What more needs to be said?
Wait, I don't have 11 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, who are you kidding? You got hours.
You should see my schedule, Raymond. 7 days a week, foot to the gas. I haven't had a day off since August. I'm not going to have a day off until Thanksgiving. And even then, yeah, I got family in town. That's essentially work. So, yeah, but it's your boy's grinding out here. Grinding.
December 10th. You're going to need that day off. Let me just promise you that. Good talking to you.
Like I said, it's top priority there. Let me just get that all squared away. Whatever you need, like usual, just go ahead and send your list. We'll get it all set up.
Yeah, 3-inch steaks, medium rare, done to perfection. You know how we need it. Thank you very much, Joe.
Yeah, that won't be a problem. I'd imagine we'll be eating our body weight in meat that week.
There he is, the one and only. The man who gave you the billions, or who entertained the billions. Joe Fortenbaugh. Here on 95.7 The Game.
It's interesting that what he said about Prop 27, because that's the big gambling one that FanDuel and DraftKings were throwing huge amounts of money at. And the fact that they've pulled the rest of their advertising suggests that that thing will crash and burn.
Well, I got to tell you, not that I'm some political analyst here, but the vote no on that completely positioned it as if it weren't about gambling whatsoever. It was about raising money for, indigenous people and homelessness, and they cornered the advertising on the issue without even really discussing what the true issue was at hand. And it was A-plus political finagling. I mean, it really was.
But more than that, the yes group, and I don't want to get deep into politics either.
Well, you got 30 seconds.
Oh, well, thanks. That's awfully damn decent.
It's not me, it's the clock.
I mean, they're the ones who wanted to talk about how, this will cure homelessness in California, which is nonsense.
Right.
But the other thing was that they positioned themselves by saying that, that this was the big opportunity. And the no people said, well, wait a minute. If this is such a windfall for California, why are DraftKings and FanDuel getting 90% of the cut? That was the thing that killed them right off the bat, because they saw through the scam. And the scam was, we're going to make tons of money for us.
Oh, you mean there was money behind it?
Yeah, but when the cut's 90% and it's easy to find, then you're asking to get your brains kicked in.
When we come on back, it's officially time to turn our attention to what is nothing short of a season-altering game for Kyle Shanahan, to the point where really, if you wanted to get dramatic, if you wanted to get about what the 49ers got in front of them, it is a monster game. It is the fork in the road of how the rest of the season plays out for the San Francisco 49ers, and there will be no Deebo Samuel involved. He has been ruled out of action, and we will let you know what else or who else is in action, who's out of action. We're going to fade the public, and we're going to tell you there's no more action on future guests. We got nothing but open lines the rest of the way. Joe Fortenbaugh, thank you. Ramona Shelburne, thank you very much for joining us, and it's time to talk to you guys about what this I'm serious. This is a huge, huge football game for the 49ers. Oh, and a little something called the World Series gets underway in the next about 20 minutes or so. So we might as well bring that up too. Here on 95.7 The Game, Damon and Ratto were brought to you by Fremont Bank. Full service banking, no compromises.
The holidays are sneaking up fast.
Ho, ho, bleepin' ho.
So check out our brand new merch store. Oy, oy, oy!
I look real good today.
Denzel was me, son.
I look real good today.
Damn it!
Check it out at 957thegameshop.com. That's 957thegameshop.com.
At BMW of Fairfield, our guests work with one client advisor through the entire transaction. No handoffs to multiple car salesmen. No waiting for a finance manager to take you to a back room. Client advisors at BMW of Fairfield are thoroughly trained in every aspect of the process, so they can lead you efficiently and effectively through the purchase from start to finish. There is a better way. Experience it for yourself at BMW of Fairfield. One price, one person, 1 hour.
My husband and I live next door to a haunted graveyard. It's a little creepy, but we manage. Just like we manage without home internet. Do I wish my mobile hotspot was faster? Yes, but I make it work. Kinda. Just like we make it work sleeping next to a 17th century burial ground.
Honey, can you move your hand?
That's not my hand.
It's mine.
Not having home internet? It's not that bad. Grab my hand.
Wait, okay.
No, not up the stairs. We tried that last time. Run over. You can literally run through him.
It is that bad. Don't settle for just mobile. Get Xfinity Home Internet for just $24.99 a month for 2 years with no annual contract and a free streaming box included. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit your local Xfinity store today. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. After 24 months, regular rates apply. Offer ends 12/21/22.
Are you kidding me? Gas prices are up again? Somebody has to do something.
Well, someone did. That's why I use Upside.
Upside? What's that?
It's a free app that pays you back real money for every gallon of gas or diesel you buy. I just earned 25 cents back on every gallon of this tank.
Hold on. So the Upside app is free and you actually get cash back every time you use it? No strings attached?
Yep, it's awesome. Check it out. It only takes a couple of minutes to sign up.
Instead of just watching your dollars go into your tank, start putting money back into your wallet with the free app from Upside. With the price of gas today, it's big news and big money. To cash out of your Upside cash, just transfer it to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card. Upside users have already earned over $200 million. Now it's your turn. Download the free Upside app and get cash back on every gallon of gas. Use promo code GOLF for an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first fill-up. That's code GOLF. Use code GOLF for an extra 25 cents per gallon back in your first fill-up. Cashback's not available in gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
For 25 years, Buy Right Market in San Francisco has partnered with purveyors of deliciousness to bring you local food that adds a dash of unique to every meal and celebration. Hi friends, this is Jamie, Buy Right's head of product. And this season, whether you're planning an elaborate meal, watching the game, heading to a friend's, or cozying up for a night in, Buy Right will help you savor what matters most. Pre-order your holiday meals at buyrightmarket.com or stop by and discover something unique for yourself. Gather, share, and enjoy with Buy Right.
Fremont Bank.
If there's one thing we understand more than anybody, it's that it takes a local bank to really get the needs of local businesses. Fremont Bank has the flexibility and motivation to service your business loan needs like other banks can't or won't. With our full suite of business loan products and recognition as a top SBA lender in the Bay Area, Fremont Bank is the right choice for local and family-owned businesses. Fremont Bank. Learn more at fremontbank.com. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Alice at 97.3 is celebrating the return of Alice in Winterland. Friday, December 2nd at the SAP Center in San Jose. Starring John Mayer. One Republic.
See you at Alice in Winterland.
Matt Nathanson. Plus more to be added. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster. Get everything Alice in Winterland at radioalice.com.
It's the bottom of the ninth, the game's on the line, and your small business needs a loan fast. What's your move? Go to OnDeck.com, America's largest online small business lender. With OnDeck, you can apply in minutes, and if approved, get your funds as soon as the same day. Go to OnDeck.com. Your loan is on deck. Depending on certain loan attributes, your business loan may be issued by OnDeck or Celtic Bank, a Utah Chartered Industrial Bank member FDIC. Limited eligibility for same-day funding. OnDeck does not lend in every state. All loans subject to lender approval.
There's a lifetime of beautiful outdoor living waiting for you at Dolan's. It's fiber-on decking for easy, carefree living. Why choose this durable composite? There's an amazing choice of colors. The rich look of multi-chromatic exotic hardwood. It resists splintering, rotting, and cracking with really low maintenance. See the colors and learn more at dolanlumber.com. See the real Fiberon at Dolan's Home Improvement Centers.
You can't get much for $5 these days, unless you go to Wendy's for a $5 Biggie Bag. Get your choice of double stack, junior bacon cheeseburger, or crispy chicken BLT, plus 4-piece nugs, fries, and a drink, all for just $5. You got that bag, you got that Biggie Bag, you got that bag. That was smooth, wasn't it? That's how you're gonna feel when you get that Biggie Bag at Wendy's.
U.S. price and participation may vary. Includes 4-piece nuggets, small soft drink, and small fry. Prices may be higher in Alaska and Hawaii.
Hey, it's Tiki Barber. When part of your offense isn't firing on all cylinders, it shows. And sometimes the only solution is to replace that part with something new. It's true on a championship team, and it's also true with cars. That's why I love eBay Motors. They have all the right parts at the right prices. 122 million of them. That way, you can get the parts you need to make your car a winner. ebaymotors.com. Let's ride.
Now back to Damon and Ratto on 95.7 The Game.
Lot of love for Joey Fortin Nuts coming in on the chat line on the YouTube page. Hello to all the usuals, the regulars. We see you there. Hello, hello. A lot of love for Joe coming in on the Xfinity mobile text line. There's just a lot of love in the air for Joe Fortenbaugh, still in San Francisco. Love talking to him, man.
Probably mostly from people who he owes money to.
He strapped on a pregnancy simulator on air. I mean, I don't know if you're planning on what your crowning achievement as a broadcaster might be one day, Ray, but we can only hope.
It won't be that.
We can only hope. It is good to have you here on 95.7 The Game for the longest, the best, commercial-free, interrupted, not commercially interrupted, is what I'm trying to say.
Commercially something.
The entire day. Speaking of commercial something, have you been to the merchandise shop yet? I heard that you can get everything that you could ever need for Arbor Day at the merchandise shop. 957thegameshop.com. Bask in it. Limited selections, shall we say, but growing ideas.
Okay, when's Arbor Day?
I have no idea.
I didn't think so.
I just thought it would be a lovely holiday to associate with. I mean, has any merchandise ever decided what market you're going to corner? Arbor Day. Well, I mean, I'm just trying to find
Osh did it.
In for 957thegame.com. Osh, the hardware supply store?
No, Orchard Supply.
Orchard, no, but they're hhardware supply is what I'm saying. But they don't actually supply orchards.
Well, no, I mean, you could get seeds, you can get farm, like hoes and shovels and stuff to work on your garden.
You shouldn't say that on the air.
April 28th.
April 28th, baby.
plan ahead, apparently.
Look, if you got all your Arbor Day shopping out of the way right now, you wouldn't have to worry about it and run out to the store on Arbor Day Eve like so many of us have had to do so many times.
You wouldn't have to worry about it on April 27th.
Arbor Day Eve. I mean, the day before that was that's Black Thursday, right?
Green Thursday.
Green Thursday at Osh. Come get your orchards. Look, hey, I know no one around here even cares anymore, but baseball is about to reach what someone once said is a World Series. Philadelphia needs a split in Houston. There's just no other way around it. Finding it tonight is going to be really tough. Justin Verlander versus Aaron Nola. Phillies and Astros, game 1. Verlander, look, you put a dent in him tonight, it would, I think, send a ripple through that Philadelphia clubhouse. Schwarber gets into him, Harper gets into him, and all of a sudden you got a little momentum to ride. Kind of like when the Giants in 2012 just jumped right all over Detroit pitching, and Pablo Sandoval's got 3 home runs, and oh my goodness, that changed the entire feeling of that World Series right away. I don't think Philadelphia does much in this World Series without one of those performances. A split, bare minimum, and rocking around Verlander tonight, which is a lot easier to say than do, I think has to go into the mix of Philadelphia winning here. This feels like Houston in 5 to me. I wasn't just teasing Joe. This feels like Houston in 5.
No, Houston's by far the better team, and they've shown it all year long. They've shown it in the playoffs, so they haven't lost yet. So I think that's probably where the logical money is. But as Fortenbaugh said, there's some line value in betting the Phillies. It's not good value in terms of collecting the bet, but if you're betting Houston, you're putting up a lot to get a little.
And the thing is, nobody liked Houston, right? Nobody likes Houston. Everybody's still mad at what they did a couple of World Series ago. And so we basically all failed to notice that one of the best seasons any team has ever had in our shared and collective lifetimes is happening for the Houston Astros right now. That's a 106-win baseball team that has reached the World Series with 0 postseason losses. They're pretty good.
Oh, no, they're ridiculously good. There's not an out in the lineup. Not one. I mean, they are loaded from 1 to 9.
Remember how I said I had a theory I just wanted to float past to keep fans from scattering away from a World Series? Because we could have started the World Series on Monday if we could have just moved the start date of the World Series. We had to wait all the way to this hour on a Friday to actually get to it because the CSs ended so quickly. Baseball's the only major sport where less people get interested the closer you get to crowning a champion. And that's officially a problem. It's why baseball is frankly more provincial than it is a national sport these days. And I think, Ray, that the World Series needs to help itself out a little bit. They need to learn how to capture momentum that might come out of NLCSs and ALCSs. And I think that the World Series now needs to be planned on 2 different timelines. And a sequence of event in the CSs triggers then what timeline you are following. If neither the NLCS nor the ALCS reaches a Game 6, then Game 1 of the World Series starts on X. If either one of the NLCSs or ALCSs sees a Game 6, then the World Series starts on date Y. Is it a logistical nightmare and problem and hard to schedule and book hotel rooms and blocks of rooms and all of that? Yes, it is. It's a big boy's job to try to plan a World Series that might start and run on 2 different timelines. But if it would bring 1 million more curious casual fans into the tent, it'd be worth it for them. I feel like they really offered us up a semi-interesting World Series here, but so much momentum got lost in between the end of the CSs and tonight's game that, any World Series is now almost entirely dependent on it going 6 or 7 games for big ratings. I guarantee you that tonight's Game 1 rating will be somewhere around 9, maybe if they're lucky, 10 million people.
Yeah, probably because Friday night is a dead night, but they're trying to avoid Sunday. That's the central truth. I mean, Daryl was asking me earlier, he says, why are they playing on Fridays? So they don't have to play on Sunday.
Well, look, they can cook in 2 travel days if they need to. You know, I mean, like there's ways around that too, I think. But it's just, it feels like baseball goes so far out of its way to almost program in a level of disinterest.
Well, I mean, look, this one was just plain bad luck. You wouldn't have thought, once the Dodgers are out, that the LCS is going to go 5. It wasn't going to. You wouldn't have planned that at all, because San Diego and Philadelphia under normal circumstances are interchangeable.
Well, I don't think anyone thought the Yankees would just lay down and die.
Well, that was my other point, which is you would have thought that both of those series would have lasted longer than they did. No, I mean, the point you're trying to make is a legitimate one. I just don't know, and I genuinely don't know this, whether a hotel would just say, yes, we'll let you block out 3 weeks in October. They'll let them block out, the chunk that they do now, but you would literally have to block out an additional week to cover your eventualities.
Week plan 1 goes through the 4 seasons, plan 2 goes through the St. Regis. Figure it out, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Okay, and what I'm saying is they're usually struggling to find hotels anyway, and then to have to book them for an extra 10 days to cover that other eventuality. And again, I don't know what the logistics are, but I can't believe it hasn't been brought up before now. And unless everybody just says, well, I don't want to spend money on hotel rooms that we're not using, which seems sort of penny wise and pound foolish, there's got to be some reason why they can't make that happen. Not everything that baseball does is by design of stupidity. Sometimes there are obstacles that you can't get around, and booking hotel rooms may very well be one of them.
The opportunity to get something right or have it go wrong. We know what baseball usually chooses. Not that they chose this, but
this is an accident. Much of what baseball does is just them being ham-handed morons.
I'm trying to plan ahead. I'm trying to be a solution-based show, not just a show that lodges complaints and files grievances. I'm trying to help the world, Ray.
Oh, I'm not. The world has done enough damage on its own. I will not be considered an accomplice when the meteor finally lands.
But prepare for this Arbor Day at 957thegameshop.com and make all your Arbor Day wishes come true.
Listen, you push that and we're going to end up selling fertilizer.
Hey, go to Osh, Outdoor Supply Hardware.
We may be doing that now.
We're certainly shoveling it.
No question.
Warriors beat the Heat last night. A monster from Steph Curry. How about this? 33 points on 0 free throws. They might have gotten sloppy with the ball, but as a team, they essentially shot 50-40-90. More specifically, they shot 50-39-87, which means 50% from the floor, 39% from downtown, 87% from the free throw line. And I'll just tell you right now, when the Warriors play like that, they're going to be really hard to beat. I don't care if they turn the ball over 5 more times than they even did last night. That is tough to beat. What it's also going to be tough for any Golden State Warrior to claim is that they're not listening to the show. Because when you start using the language of this show in your own language, it's clear that you're listening. Has anyone, Ray, in Bay Area media history more than I, discussed the concept of irrational self-confidence?
You embody it.
Exactly. It's my single greatest attribute.
Or maybe your single attribute.
It's the attribute.
Yeah.
My irrational... Damon, why did you believe that could happen? I don't know. I just did. Why did you think you could move to San Francisco and launch a totally unheard of, yet somehow in some way measurably successful, now over 17-year-long on-air career? How are you going to do that? I don't know. I just think I'm gonna. My irrational self-confidence it's the reason why I'm married to my wife. I had no business asking a girl like that out.
You really didn't. I'm going to be honest. That's beyond irrational self-confidence. That's delusion.
Hey.
And at some point, I'm going to put 3 drinks in her, and she's going to tell me
What
the
went
real
wrong?
story, which is that she owes you a massive amount of money.
No, it's just irrational self-confidence. Oh, by the way, welcome, irrational self-confidence audience, to your 5 o'clock hour.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM and HD1 San Francisco. Always live on Twitch, YouTube, and the free Odyssey app. Damn well better be free.
I wonder if it's the free Odyssey app or just our terrestrial radio station here that has Draymond Green tuning in, because he's clearly listening. Here he is talking about Steph Curry last night.
Steph used to have irrational confidence. He doesn't quite have irrational confidence anymore. He has an earned confidence that we all know and expect. The confidence level that he has, all of us expect him to do exactly what that confidence level is leading him to. When you've reached that level and you're kind of at the pinnacle of what you do, it takes a special person to want to continue to improve. He's continuing to show that. His mental continues to get stronger. Physically, he continues to improve, and it's been showing in this game.
I mean, can we cite our sources? Can we footnote that a little, Draymond? Every time I play a Draymond Green podcast soundbite, I cite my sources. Draymond Green, Volume Podcast Network.
I don't know what you want me to... Am I supposed to yell at him too?
No, they're listening is all I'm saying. They're listening. They're listening. Because they're now picking up the language of the show. That means you're not just tuning in
then here's what I want.
one day or two a week. It means you're listening.
Then they should be ashamed of themselves, and I want to hear them say that in their next postgamer.
I want everyone to start answering every question with the phrase, more to the point.
More to the point.
More to the point. Then you'll know. When all of a sudden...
We all have our quirks.
When all of a sudden they're going up to the press conference with microphones that haven't been turned on yet, then they're really listening to the show.
Yeah, but they can't listen to that. That's the beauty of it. You cannot imitate a dead microphone. You have to kill it yourself.
Well, we can count on you.
That's what I'm here for.
Somebody says, Damon, you want to talk about irrational self-confidence? I remember when you said that McDonald's barbecue sauce was some of the best barbecue sauce in the world. It is. I love the McDonald's barbecue sauce. I don't care how absolutely transient that makes me.
Well, you better get used to it, because that's where your kids are going to be dining 6 nights a week until they're 20.
Hey, there's one right on Ocean Ave, not too far away from us, though. But I would say you take the same dollar amount, you go over to Beeps, and you get a better burger. And everyone who's kicking it, Oceanside, like the Bruces. No, I'm speaking some truth right there. Go to Beeps. Get a burger at Beeps.
And then double back to McDonald's and get the barbecue sauce.
Well, again, you should have some left over in your fridge or in the soy sauce drawer, as it's known.
So in other words, when you go to McDonald's, you say, yes, can I have 67 packets of barbecue sauce?
They used to not even charge you. Now they're going to try to ding you 25 cents a pack.
25 cents a pack?
I think so. I think they got extreme. I don't eat fast food anymore. Ever since El Stroco Loco, it's the one actual moment of discipline I've tried to exercise in my life.
Yeah, but when Duchess is here, those kids are going to be talking into the clown's mouth a lot.
Have you heard they're going to bring back McDonald's Happy Meals, but for adults? Is there anything more you need to know about the United States of America that we have adults still wanting Happy Meals?
Oh, these are the people who need their hips buttered to get through doorways.
Steph Curry talking about that self-confidence, no longer irrational, but rational.
I think I'm blessed with the way of approaching the game, the way I see it, that the irrationality that was behind it hadn't been done a certain way before. And you try to create that almost. Once you do, there's a rationality that comes behind that it's just, that's what the expectation is for me personally. I know what work goes in to make that a deserved confidence out there every time I play. Then you try to enjoy what you do, because, you want to win, you want to enjoy the competition, and the comparison is always to yourself. So I love that part of the journey.
There you go. Interesting stuff from the Warriors, considering their confidence, their irrational self-confidence, and I just want to thank them for listening, and no wonder why the dynasty prevails and continues. They're not just listening to the show, they're adapting the show's philosophies. That keeps this train running. And you're welcome. You're welcome, Bay Area. This is Rich in Fremont. Rich, you're on 95.7 The Game. What do you got?
I think that, thanks, first of all, for taking my call, Damon. Hello, Ray. I think when it really comes down to it, when you watch Steph Curry, and you watch somebody do what he's been doing for as long as he has, you see a person who basically has just perfected his craft. And that's what we're seeing. And you know, really all those haters and saying, oh, he can't do this, he can't do that. It's like, hey, at the end of the day, I've said this before, we are watching greatness. Get used to it, because I still believe he's got at least 3-4 more seasons in him. Okay, I really do. And by the way, Damon, everybody knows when it comes to barbecue sauce, Sweet Baby Ray's is the best barbecue sauce.
Bottled barbecue sauce? Yeah, I'll tell you, I can make some barbecue sauce right on my own stovetop that'll go toe-to-toe with anything. But if bottled, yeah, Sweet Baby Ray's is absolutely legit. I would even say, Rich, will you give me a vote of confidence on a KC masterpiece?
No. I'll tell you what, though. I will make my round-the-block famous underground smoking hot wings and serve them up to you. They are the best wings you will ever put in your mouth.
Come find us. We'll get there, Rich. Thank you very, very much.
Kinder's.
Kinder's is good sauce. Absolutely it is. Yeah. Very good. Very good. I'll put a chicken wing in my mouth. Ray, maybe not.
I've never put one in my mouth because I'm not curious to find out what they taste like.
That's got to be a T-shirt right there, available on 95.7thegameshop.com.
Nobody wants to spend 20 seconds reading a T-shirt.
It's pretty wordy.
It is a little wordy.
It's a lot wordy. I don't want to be involved in this nightmare.
You're involved. You're in the center of it.
It's frightening.
You're actually going to be our spokesmodel at some point.
Wow, watch me retire the day before.
Promise?
Bingo. You want me done? Ask me to do something outside the studio.
What he was saying, though, I do want to talk about what he was saying about Curry. Because there is something incredibly special there. And, you know, when I came in for a little crosstalk today with Steiny and Guru asked, do we underappreciate Steph Curry? The answer is yes. He is underappreciated at all times. He's been underappreciated at every moment of this dynasty. He is also completely recognized as the most important Golden State Warrior that has ever lived or breathed a single breath of air. He is omnipresent in all of their success. He truly is. And the way he goes about his preparation, his professionalism, the commitment that he makes to his body is just, he's one of the single greatest athletes in terms of endurance this league has ever seen. He might not be able to jump over tall buildings in a single bound. He has never been a rim runner in any way, shape, or form. Don't let his physical nature bound by gravity convince you that he isn't one of the greatest athletes the league has ever seen. He is just that. And then when it comes to the shot, there is a level of craftsmanship there that involves not only practice but artistry. I mean, this is why poets get inspired by sports sometimes, because there's a whole lot of hard work and there is an element of getting kissed on the forehead by God. And that's what Steph Curry's got.
Well, there's one other thing, though, and I don't believe he's underappreciated anymore, and I think that ended like 17. Before that, he was in the process of helping change the way the game is played, and there was a dogmatic nature to NBA analysis, which was you get the ball down on the low block and everything goes through that. And even though the Bulls won 6 championships without much center play, by and large, that didn't really change for any other teams until 13, 14, 15, when you started to see it in Houston and you started to see it in Oakland. And when you're changing the nature of the game, it takes a while for people to figure it out. And because Curry was the catalyst of that change, it took people a while to figure him out. But I think for the last 5 years, everybody has been on him, and correctly so, as the leading game changer in this league. More guys coming out of college want to be him than really anybody else. I mean, even Victor Wembanyama wants to pull up from 20. You know, that's not because they fell in love with Dwight Howard in 2012. That's because the game moved away from the basket.
Curry's at the center of an evolution I mean, I think he might even be more appreciated globally than he is at times locally. Again, we talk to Steve Kerr every week. Among the least broached topics you and I have gone in with Steve is Steph Curry.
Because you don't have to.
Exactly. In a sense. So it's kind of like I mean, it's not that we don't appreciate him, but he's hidden in plain sight.
Yeah, it's stating the obvious. That's what it is. It's just, you want to rave about Stephen Curry? Yeah, everybody knows that. That just, what are you telling us that's new or interesting? Stephen Curry is good. Hey, there's an insight.
You know who did find out that last night, though? Tyler Hero.
Got it to Thompson, back to Curry, chased by Hero. Curry with a dribble, crossover, takes the jumper, 3-ball Curry! Ridiculous.
It really was. He was even asked about the boogie he put on Hero post-game.
It's stuff, I hate to say it, it's stuff you work on in the summer. My trainer already texted me and called out the pattern. It's reps that you do all summer long. That just kind of comes out based on reads and stuff like that. So just make a play.
Again, so there it is. It's a combination of the magicianship that he had just baked into who he is, plus the relentless level of craftsmanship that lent him to perfect that move, to look for it, to know when to deploy it. Guy's just brilliant. He's an artist.
But the giveaway was when Tim Roy said, chased by Hero. That means Hero is behind him.
Took the bait.
And that's it. You're done. At that point, we know what's going to happen in the soundbite, because why else would you play it? But chased by Hero means Curry is free now and will remain free for the end of this possession.
Whenever you're hip to hip with the corner's in trouble.
Yeah, that's it. It's and the reason why Curry is more than just a craftsman is because he runs everywhere. Even if you're a great defender, you can't defend 24 seconds of every possession. You wear out. Curry doesn't wear out, and I don't know why. Maybe he's got a third lung, but that's the thing. Watch 3 possessions of the Warriors, and if you see Curry standing still, it's because he's getting ready to receive the ball. Under no other circumstance is that happening.
Maybe your satellite dish froze.
Okay, barring that, if your TV is working and you've paid your bill, Curry is standing still only when he's about to receive the ball. In all other situations, he's going somewhere with a purpose.
He's always trying to get better. If there were ever a guy who didn't have to practice another 3-point shot in the history of basketball, you'd think it'd be him, right? Well, that means he's going to get up 1,000 tomorrow. And he will. I've been lucky enough, Ray, I think you've been lucky enough to be over at the Warriors practice facility and watch what Steph Curry's post-practice shooting drill is. It's remarkable. It's remarkable. At one point in time, I actually saw him knock down like 72 out of 83s. I was counting. It was just preposterous to see how much he was moving, how hard he was working after an NBA practice, just going around around the world shooting from ball racks. It was insane. It was absolutely insane. He was asked in this post-game press conference, what'd you do to get ready for this season?
That's the mental part, of just always feeling comfortable out there, no matter what type of defense you see, no matter what the game calls for. I think getting stronger definitely helped. You can say I'd improved there because you can withstand a lot more physicality and stuff. We talked about that a lot last year. But I'm stubborn enough to think that I can do this for a lot more years, and trying to prove that every day with the work that I put in and the way that I approach the games and trying to make it look easy even though it's not.
Look, you know what the Warriors are going to try to make look easy even though it's not? This 5-game road trip. It's not the Bucks, it's not the Nets, it's not the Celtics, it's not the 76ers. None of the Eastern Conference heavyweights are waiting for the Warriors on this road trip. But it's going to be rough on their bodies. Logistically, they got a lot of basketball coming up. The goal is to go 3 or 2 or better on this road trip. They're going to be resting players on this road trip because the 5-game road trip has 2 back-to-backs cooked into it. At Charlotte, at Detroit, back-to-back Saturday and Sunday. By the way, the Hornets are absolutely stroking it right now with an NBA best 42% from downtown. That is as a team. Detroit is just young enough to want to give the Warriors an awful lot of run on the second night of a back-to-back. So heavy legs going to Miami then, the one standalone game on November 1st. That is in South Beach, which will also, every now and then, Ray, itself create heavy legs on an NBA player. That's what South Beach does. That is the Heat's home court advantage. It's not that crowd. It's the scene. And then finally, at Miami, I already said that, at Orlando, at New Orleans, back-to-back on Thursday and Friday of next week. So the Pelicans right now are the number 3 scoring team in the NBA, and a tough matchup on legs of a final night of a 5-game road trip that had 2 back-to-backs in it. So this is not going to be...
Their toughest opponent will be the airport.
Hey, Russell Wilson wasn't about to lose to that opponent. Did you hear he was doing calisthenics, and those calisthenics have gotten him under center for the Denver Broncos in London starting on Sunday. He will be playing.
See, I'm sitting here wondering why one of the tight ends didn't just walk into the aisle and say, if you do one more jumping jack, I'm going to beat you into a fine gray paste. I'm trying to sleep here. We just played football. You can do that at home. Bother your wife, not me.
I mean, look, if you keep to yourself, maybe in the cabin where the flight attendants prepare the meals and keep the coffee, like maybe you can work out somewhere by the bathroom. But no, if you're doing high knees up and down the airplane center aisle, someone's got to stick a foot out there and 49er leg whip that SOB to the ground.
Yeah, I mean, stop. You're not impressing us. You're keeping us awake. We just got beat. We're not in the mood to watch you do performative calisthenics, you jackass.
Hey, if the Broncos win, maybe it's the most important collection of calisthenics the NFL. Well, I mean, they'll go down in history, Ray.
No, well, if you remember, Hackett was talking about how a bunch of their coaches were sleeping in night after night at the facility to try to get things right, which is an insane notion in and of itself. If they win, there'll be 53 guys trying to do calisthenics on the plane the next time they head out for a game. And there's an excellent chance the plane will go down because you can't carry that much weight with that much exercise for that long. They're going to have to be strapped into their chairs. In fact, why wasn't he strapped into his chair as far as that goes?
Maybe they had
Isn't there FAA rules about that?
Maybe the seatbelt line or the seatbelt sign was unilluminated at the time. And he's Mr. Unilluminated. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Okay, let me, real quick, I just want to go back to the Warriors for one more point that I made during the crossover, and then I forgot to bring it up because I thought it was like, oh, this is really interesting. I gave it away early. I'm going to come back to it late here. Remember how I told you there's a 2-headed monster brewing for the Golden State Warriors? It's Kevon Looney and James Wiseman. Let's call him Kevisman. How do we combine the two names, Ray? You're the writer. You're the defector poet laureate.
I wouldn't, because Kevisman sounds like a business guy. It's just Looney and Weissman. You can do that.
It's just,
No. We don't need some clever nickname that nobody else is ever going to use.
Hey, it could be on a T-shirt for your Arbor Day celebration.
Well, then let them worry about it. Are you getting paid if you design T-shirts?
Kevisman, no. Apparently, whoever's designing them isn't being paid much either. But Kevisman,
Javon Liesman,
Javon.
Don't see what you started?
Javon and Kevon. Okay, James and
Kevon.
I'm thinking about Kinlaw. See, like that's already taken.
Liesman.
Either way, you put the 2-headed monster together, and last night you got 43 minutes of court time, 17 points, 14 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 turnovers, and 4 fouls out of the 2 of them, with a combined 8 of 13 shooting from the field, with an overall plus-minus of plus 14. It's a pretty good NBA center. Whether it takes 2 guys to get you that box score or not, that's a pretty good NBA center. You can win a lot of games with that in the middle of the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah, but it is interesting, though, that Looney played 29 minutes, which is a good long stretch for him.
It is.
I mean, once again, trusted agent.
He is a trusted agent. Not as trusted at this particular time. And I told you, we're not going to make Loonsman. It's not bad. I'm going to be honest with you. Xfinity Mobile text line. Loonsman's not bad. Anyway, Steve Kerr. We said we were not going to be worried about Jonathan Kuminga's minutes. Just did that show yesterday. All right, I'm not coming off that position, but his minutes even went down all the way to 0. He got a DNP last night, and here's Steve Kerr.
Jonathan's time will come. He's a very, very young player. He's very talented. He's just got to keep working. Things will go well for him as long as he stays on the path. This is how it goes for young guys on championship teams. There's just no free minutes. But the development comes every day. That's the thing. It's it's not like development only comes with minutes played. It comes with coming to practice and getting the work in every single day. So he's working hard. He's staying ready, and his time will come.
Sounds like they want to see more from him in practice, doesn't it?
Oh, it sounds like they want more consistency in practice, where they can put him into a game and trust the result they're going to get. Because they do put him in the game most of the time, and they don't get the consistency that they want. It's not like they're asking him to do 15 incredibly complicated things. His to-do list is fairly short at this point in his career, and he's not able to do it consistently, which is why he doesn't play much. And I get it.
Big game for the 49ers. Big game for the 49ers. I know you don't like to get caught up in, any one particular week being that much more dramatic than any other week, but let's be totally honest. You want to pick up a win before you head into a bye week, especially when the win would represent to the 49ers what this win would represent. By the way, 49ers playoff chances per Football Outsiders, they win on Sunday. The playoff chances are 66%. Not bad for a team that's just 500. If they lose on Sunday, their playoff chances fall to 33%. It's not a number that they can't overcome, obviously. An awful lot of football still remains. But look, this year has not gotten off to the best of starts. It's been a topsy-turvy season in terms of results and injuries, and they were just embarrassed by Kansas City at home, and the Rams are coming off a bye week. This ain't going to be easy. Being unbeaten in his own division would be the only thing that Kyle Shanahan could point at and say, well, at least that's gone right. At least that part of the equation we're trying to put together as a football team has worked in our favor and in our direction. This is a huge game. This is a huge game before you even start saying things like, well, what are you going to do with Christian McCaffrey now that you've had him in practice for an entire week? This is a big game before you said, well, what are you going to do without Deebo Samuel, who will not be playing at SoFi Stadium? This is a big game for the 49ers. And look, whether Christian McCaffrey represents an opportunity to be less of more of the same or not for the 49ers, whether he does create an offensive evolution in any way, shape, or form, all of that needs to reveal itself after the bye week. You just got to go beat the Rams. That's it. That's it. The path to the postseason is so much easier. And they will have done themselves a favor, really, for the first time this entire year, Ray, if they open up a perfect 3-0 in division and have the Rams off the schedule the rest of the way.
No, I mean, and the fact that all four teams are essentially interchangeable at this point means that being the first tiebreaker, that puts them in a, commanding position, no matter where they're seated. So, yeah, beating the Rams is a good idea.
This would be Kyle sweeping the regular season against Sean McVay for the fourth straight season. I mean, I know that we brought this up when they played him earlier this year, but I don't think we can really impress upon the audience like how hard that is to do. It's truly hard to do because even the biggest Rams hater in our audience, even someone who is just, didn't look at anything other than the Niners are the best team ever and every team that's not the Niners sucks. Like even someone who looked at football through that prism would have to admit, like, this is a good Rams team. Or even if they aren't the best version of themselves right now, They certainly have been a good Rams team. Like just say, last year when you swept them in the regular season. I mean, McVay, he did win the big one. He won the NFC title game. But, God, Shanahan wins the rest. It's just, how do they do that? Like, it's one of the bigger mysteries of the Kyle Shanahan era. How does he have such ownage on this?
Because they do one thing that the Rams can't counter very well, which is they run effectively. And when you run effectively, it means you get to have the ball way more than they do. And because Aaron Donald is an elite pass rusher, but only a very good run defender, you can run right at him and block him in such a way that he is not impactful in the same way that he is with a normal NFL offense. I think that's it in a nutshell, is they're able to make Aaron Donald's operating space very crowded. And when he can't get up to speed, he can't be a terror. And him not being a terror means that other guys have to be, and not all of them are.
It's certainly as decent a theory as I've heard attached to the lopsided dominance in the regular season that the 49ers have enjoyed over the Rams. You know, I've got 5 things that I think are how the Niners win this game. We'll get to those in just a second. But, I mean, if you want more proof that the Rams are good, even as they're currently beat up and bad, they're the least penalized team in football. That means they're well coached. And they do have just an omnipotent weapon in Cooper Kupp. Brian Baldinger today was on Willard and Dibbs talking about how basically Cooper Kupp is one of the guys in this league that it's impossible to shut him down.
Because the timing and the type of routes that Cooper Kupp runs and his vision to see where the double is coming from, how you're doubling, if you're trying to like beat him up at the line of scrimmage, like he's got an answer for just about anything that you do. And so I don't think it's enough to beat the 49ers. Tyler Higbee's a really good player. They're going to get Van Jefferson back. They haven't had that second option from the receiver this year. Allen Robinson has not been that guy. The timing is not good with him. And the quarterback, he doesn't beat man coverage well. So to me, maybe Van Jefferson makes a difference. He's a very good route runner. His dad's a wide receiver coach in his business. He's been well taught. But the ball's going to Cooper Kupp every third down, red zone. It's going to him. And it's a question of, can you stop it? Can you defend it?
Look, both these teams are pretty good getting off the field on third down. That's basically the biggest commonality these defenses have. The 49ers defense should be walking into this game pretty damn angry. Angry at how they got manhandled by the Kansas City Chiefs. And I don't know if, these teams, these games, I guess I should say, really link to one another. But it should be in the back of their mind that they just got their butts whipped in a place where they normally do not do anything other than whip butts, and that's on the line of scrimmage. And look, this is a team that still, right now, even after that embarrassing loss, has a defense that is the third best in yards allowed and third in sacks. And like you were saying, Ray, somehow they've got an answer for Aaron Donald. Daniel Brunskill, the Aaron Donald killer. It makes no sense, but there's something to it. They find a way, more than any other team in football, how to slow down Aaron Donald. Like you say, they release him. They use his own momentum and his power against him. It's exactly what Andy Reid did last week against Nick Bosa.
Yeah, no, it's just when somebody is that fast and that mobile, the best way to negate that is to make his space crowded. And you can do that with multiple blockers. So it's not just Daniel Brunskill. It's a scheme that they put together time in and time out. And the Rams have not been able to figure out how to free Donald up in that way. They've moved him to both sides of the ball. They've tried to, position him in different spots. How they operate is, we're going at you with our linemen, and then we're letting our running backs go wherever they want, wherever the hole appears. We're not running at you, but we're sending guys toward you so you can't run at us.
The Rams are essentially, they've given up on the run game. It's going to be fascinating to see how they get past the Niners when they are almost arriving one-dimensional on Sunday at kickoff. You know, they just don't have the horses to run any sort of a foot race against the Niners. Brian Baldinger, again, on Willard and Dibs, talked about how this is a week where against the banged-up Rams offensive line, the 49ers pass rush should rear its head once again.
They have to dominate this game because when you do, Stafford is going to give you 2 or 3 chances to take the ball away. It's just the way it is. Like, he's going to stay in there. He's going to take his shots. He's going to throw the ball up. And you're going to have a chance to go get it. And it really does start with Nick. He's got to be dominant. Like, this guy in front of him I'm sure they're going to chip him. They're going to do all the things that Nick Bosa is used to seeing. Like, he expects that, but that doesn't matter. Like, you got to beat the chips. You got to beat the double teams. You have to beat those things. If they're committing 2 guys to Nick Bosa, somebody else is probably going to be one-on-one. They got to win. And in the run game and the pass game, like, they feed off of negative plays. It's not just sacks. It's runs that go for negative yardage. It's the holding calls that gets called, and they put them behind the sticks. Like, they have to assert themselves. Whoever's healthy up there, like, they've got to go win this game. That's where it starts for them.
By the way, Brian Baldinger is coming up next on 95.7 The Game when we get to our next hour, best of 95.7 The Game. Baldy today on Willard and Dibs is going to be a big part of that. He's always so good, and he's right about Nick Bosa, who, by the way, had 2 sacks against the Rams the last time they played. He just, I think, for the first time, when's the last time you say for certain Nick Bosa had a bad football game? I mean, you might have to go back to Columbus, Ohio, to find an Ohio State game that he didn't play well in, to say he definitively had a bad game. He definitively had a bad game against Kansas City, and I hopefully that motivates him to go out and do what he does best against the Rams.
But he had a bad game because they all had a bad game. He can't have a good game by himself.
No, but the good game that Kansas City had started by turning his day into a long one.
Oh, no question. But again, he can't play 3 positions at once. And the Chiefs did some of the same things that with their running game that the 49ers like to do with Aaron Donald. More to the point, though, Patrick Mahomes doesn't get tackled. That's the deal. And it doesn't matter whether it's Bosa or anybody else. He doesn't get tackled.
Matthew Stafford does.
Matthew Stafford very much does. Matthew Stafford is only slightly more mobile than me. And when they could block, like they did last year, they get to have a parade. They haven't blocked this year because Andrew Whitworth retired and they're banged up everywhere else. So, yeah, he's taking a frightful beating. So, I mean, it's Kansas City is such an outlier for this defense. They may not see another team even remotely that good offensively the entire year, playoffs included.
When it comes to getting the 49ers offense going, again, they've got Christian McCaffrey. That is going to be the big wrinkle that Kyle gets to play with. His other wrinkle will not be found on Sunday. Deebo Samuel is not playing. He is out of this game. I wrote down Brandon Ayuk and George Kittle need to keep it up. Before I even knew Ayuk was out of this game, they do. And look, they both had big back-to-back weeks that mattered in the box score anyways. You know, mattering in the box score needs to matter when you're talking about did you win or lose the game. But you know, I'm all out of patience for nuanced games from players who should be putting up bigger numbers. And Brandon Ayuk and George Kittle are 2 of those guys. And in the last couple of weeks, each of them has had 7-8 catches, 80-plus yards of offense, and put something in the end zone. Like, keep that up. That'd be a really good way to sweep the Rams for the 4th consecutive year. And finally, Ray, my final point.
More to the point.
Jeff Wilson Jr. I haven't forgotten about you, brother. Not even close. Everyone's going to be looking at Christian McCaffrey, counting the touches, counting the reps. Where is he? Where is he lining up? And whenever Jeff Wilson Jr. comes into the game, it's going to be a little bit of a moment for some fans who are watching. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be at all. If McCaffrey is getting the volume, Wilson is going to come in hot with fresh legs, hopefully against a tired defense. To me, that sounds like a fantastic weapon. Jeff Wilson Jr., 25 carries all day long. All right, if you have to. Jeff Wilson Jr. getting 8 second-half carries against tired legs in a ball-control game. I like him a lot. I think Jeff Wilson Jr. goes a long way to getting the Niners into the win column this weekend.
Look, if the 49ers do the thing they want to do more than anything else, which is run the ball 40 times, he's going to have more carries than McCaffrey will. May have as many touches, but a lot of those will be balls thrown out of the backfield. He's going to get plenty of action, and there's still going to be plenty of action left over for Wilson. I don't think that's a very compelling issue for them. They can run the ball. If they can run the ball the way they like to run the ball and the way they normally run the ball against the Rams, Jeff Wilson will get plenty of touches.
Not sure if you guys heard this, but earlier this afternoon, Jeremy Fowler from ESPN reporting that the Niners are actually listening to trade calls on Jeff Wilson Jr.
They should listen to every single phone call that comes into their building. I wouldn't do anything more to listen. All I would do is listen unless you literally gave me the can't say no to it offer. I mean, you're going to have to go bonkers with what you're offering the 49ers for them to, I think, put Jeff Wilson Jr. on the block, unless they truly think that Ty Davis-Price and Elijah Mitchell are going to be so good together behind Christian McCaffrey that, yes, this is now something we can do. But I don't think either of those guys are the complementary big back to McCaffrey that Wilson could be.
Well, whether he is or not, they have to see how McCaffrey works out for at least a couple of weeks. But, of course, when the phone rings, you pick it up. Otherwise, you're an idiot. Because you never know what could happen.
I don't think they're going to do it.
Probably not. Yeah. But you certainly wouldn't do it now with all the things you don't know about your running game and the people who are in it. Because you don't know what Mitchell's going to be like when he comes back. And you don't know how McCaffrey is going to fit into this offense. And those are things you have to learn before you decide, hey, I think I'll talk to other general managers because I don't have enough fun in my day.
Kyle Shanahan was asked about Christian McCaffrey, how quickly he's picked up the playbook.
Yeah, I do. I mean, he worked real hard to get his stuff last week. We gave the whole team the game plan on Wednesday. It's harder for a guy when he hasn't heard the stuff other weeks, but he did great in his 3 practices, and it's good to go.
Smart guy, Stanford guy. Should be ready to go. By the way, Brian Baldinger on with Willard and Dibbs talked about the expectation he has for McCaffrey's workload Sunday at SoFi.
I think if McCaffrey gets off to a start like he did last week, which was pretty darn good. I mean, he was gashing him for 8-9 yards up the middle on a couple of those inside runs. I think if he gets off to a hot start and you see success, you might see a heavy workload, knowing that, A, he's been healthy all year. He's had a healthy workload to begin with in Carolina. And I think that, you can rest him after this and get him ready for the second half surge. So I think if he gets off to a hot start, you might see a whole lot of Christian McCaffrey.
1:25 kickoff for the 49ers against the Rams on Sunday. Week 8 started last night. Ravens won in Tampa. Marshawn Lynch running around in a pirate costume was more pure entertainment than that game itself was. Tom Brady, of course, going public with the fact that he and Giselle have indeed gotten divorced. Boy, that train came quickly, did it not? I mean, that went from something's rotten in Denmark to they're talking to lawyers to it's done quickly. Wow. I mean, that happened fast. And look, there's a lot of really awful, horrific, cruel things being said about, Tom Brady and making fun of him, and he chose football over his family and all that. Who knows what the hell happened behind closed doors and where things went wrong? I do not know. But any talk about this is it for Tom Brady? I don't think so. I don't think so. I think Tom Brady's looking for a better offensive line. Right now, I think he's leading the NFL in yards from scrimmage in terms of throwing the ball. I mean,
but his passer rating is like 20th. And he's thrown as many touchdown passes as Garoppolo.
I know. Well, his team stinks.
Well, what I'm saying is I don't know that offensive line gets fixed because it's hard to fix an offensive line when you have as many problems with it as they do. Because there are not that many good guards and tackles floating around the job market right now. He might have to figure out a way to do this without a good offensive line. And 45-year-old quarterbacks don't tend to do that well, no matter how many rings they've got. That's why they're 3-5 and looking as bad as they look.
Think Tom Brady wants to get out of Tampa if he's going to keep on playing? The answer to that question is yes. I'll do it for you. Hey, 49ers might be the perfect landing spot for Tom Brady next year. Just want to be the first to throw that out there. Because this team's got an offensive line he could win a Super Bowl behind. They do.
Well, if he's prepared to hand the ball off 40 times a game, he'll be fine.
Hey, you know what? At age 46, he probably is for the first time in his career.
And Trey Lance will definitely demand a trade at that point.
Hey, if you can't sit around and learn from Tom Brady, something's wrong with you.
I think the sitting around part is the thing that's would be upsetting to him.
Hey, you're under contract, kid. You're not going anywhere. No demands shall be met at this particular time. As a matter of fact, we're going to pick up that 5th-year rookie option.
That would be a real bastard move.
Hey, it's the NFL, baby. Bastard moves are what the league is built on. By the way, bastard move to exercise up and down an aisle. Russell Wilson did that. He will be playing first game on Sunday. Broncos in London taking on the Jaguars. Another huge game. Giants at the Seahawks. Game of the weekend, really, if you think about it. But DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, game time decisions. I know Joe Fortenbaugh said Giants have been playing maybe over their head. It's been a long 3 weeks on the road. Went to London, ended all the way in Seattle. Something's got to give in the Brian Daboll is the best conversation. This could be it. He might be right, but if you're a Niner fan, you're rooting for those Seahawks. If you're a Niner fan...
Why would you root for the Seahawks?
Root for the Giants against the Seahawks. If you are a 49er fan, though, you might not like what we'll be fading the public with when we come on back here for our final segment this afternoon on Damon and Ratto on 95.7 The Game.
Great cars and great customer experience are what define a great dealership. At BMW of Fairfield, we deliver on both counts. BMW of Fairfield is the top-rated BMW dealership in the Bay Area, according to Google reviews. We love selling the ultimate driving machines, but our success rests on the outstanding experience we provide our customers. It's a better way to buy and own a vehicle. Experience it for yourself at BMW of Fairfield. One price, one person, 1 hour.
This is your time to cash in at Cash Creek Casino Resort. To rock and to roll. Over the hills and bluffs. Go all out or go all in. With 4 stars and rising stars. Now we do more than ever, so you can do as much or as little as you want. It's your time to cash in at Cash Creek Casino Resort.
First, we decide where we want to go. Then we need to know the best way to get there. Hi, my name's Adam Barada. I'm the owner of Advantage Gold. We're the highest rated precious metals firm in the country. We teach people how to own physical gold and silver. Now, we've won the Best of TrustLink Award 4 years in a row because we educate our clients on how to buy gold and silver the right way. We don't pay celebrity spokespeople millions of dollars. We'd rather pass that value on to you. Call 800-900-8000 and speak with one of our experts. We'll send you a free gold kit along with my latest #1 national best-selling book, The Great Devaluation. Call 800-900-8000. That's 800-900-8000. Get the best information, the best process, the best service, the best value. Call Advantage Gold at 800-900-8000. Call 800-900-8000.
Advantage Gold is not an investment advisor or a tax advisor. Consult with your financial advisor before investing.
The following is an attorney advertisement. If you get sidelined by a workplace injury, the workers' compensation attorneys at Boxer & Gerson can help get you back in the game. Our team of skilled attorneys will fight by your side for the treatment and compensation you deserve. We care about justice for injured workers. That's what makes us Northern California's premier workers' comp law firm. Call Boxer & Gerson at 510-345-2341 or visit boxerlaw.com for a free consultation. Boxer & Gerson, your life is worth the fight.
Are you kidding me? Gas prices are up again? Somebody has to do something.
Well, someone did. That's why I use Upside.
Upside? What's that?
It's a free app that pays you back real money for every gallon of gas or diesel you buy. I just earned 25 cents back on every gallon of this tank.
Hold on. So the Upside app is free and you actually get cash back every time you use it? No strings attached?
Yep, it's awesome. Check it out. It only takes a couple of minutes to sign up.
Instead of just watching your dollars go into your tank, start putting money back into your wallet with the free app from Upside. With the price of gas today, it's big news and big money. To cash out of your Upside cash, just transfer it to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card. Upside users have already earned over $200 million. Now it's your turn. Download the free Upside app and get cash back on every gallon of gas. Use promo code GOLF for an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first fill-up. That's code GOLF. Use code GOLF for an extra 25 cents per gallon back in your first fill-up. Cashback's not available in gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Alice at 97.3 is celebrating the return of Alice in Winterland. Friday, December 2nd at the SAP Center in San Jose. Starring John Mayer. One Republic.
See you at Alice in Winterland.
Matt Nathanson. Plus more to be added. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster. Get everything Alice in Winterland at radioalice.com.
Finding the right Medicare plan? Oof, no easy feat. Kind of like those dances my granddaughter loves making me do. But then I found Walgreens FindRx coverage. Lets you compare plans online, over the phone, or in person. Made Medicare shopping so easy. Plus, I found plans with low-cost copays. I can get down with that. Medicare annual enrollment ends December 7th. Find a plan that's right for you at walgreens.com/Medicare.
Kansas City Steak Company, another AmericanEagle.com success story. Started in 1932 as a family-owned butcher shop, today they're a leading distributor of superior all-American steaks delivered right to your door, ready for the grill and your taste buds. When it came to their website, an average site wouldn't do. They chose AmericanEagle.com to take their website to the next level. With a dramatic increase in competition and a softening market demand, they had two challenges: improve their brand presence and message, and produce a positive return. AmericanEagle.com got to work and executed usability studies and detailed audits of site experience, digital assets, and marketing. The result? An integrated digital marketing and customer experience plan, organic traffic increase of 20%, and a long-term roadmap for success. If you love great steaks, go to kansascitysteaks.com for website design, development, and online solutions that bring efficiency and results. Visit AmericanEagle.com. If you need a results-driven website, call the team at AmericanEagle.com at 877-WEBNOW1. That's 877-WEBNOW1.
Charging a cell phone can be like getting a booster shot. A booster is given to enhance or restore protection after a primary series vaccination, which wanes over time. Schedule an appointment when you are eligible. Sponsored by Pfizer and BioNTech.
Here's what happened today on The Game. Presented by the County of Santa Clara. The morning roast from 6 to 9.
James Wiseman's going to be fine, and he's learning. And the things that he's saying to me, Shafsky, I need to watch more film. I need to screen better. I need to play defense.
It's Willard and Dips from 9 to noon.
Nobody is ever going to look at anybody ever again the way we look at Steph.
Steiny and Guru from noon to 3.
Four-time champions get to stink in October, the year after you win a title.
And Damon and Ratto from 3 to 6.
At no point in time during the active shooting over the course of an NBA game was Steph Curry fouled in any way, shape, or form by a very defense-forward Miami Heat team. These referees are in mid-season form.
I was good with it. The best of the game. Presented by the County of Santa Clara. Book a COVID-19 booster shot now at sccfreevax.org or call 211. Now back to Damon and Ratto on 95.7 The Game.
Well, someone on the Xfinity Mobile text line says, did they just hit and run in a baseball game? I don't know if those runners were in motion, but it is 2-0 Houston. Dusty put the hit and run on. God bless him. He's playing National League ball.
I don't know if it was a hit and run, because I don't know that you would do that with Martin Maldonado. I just think he went the other way because that's where the pitch was.
Maybe it was a run and hit, Ray. Two very different things, actually. You know baseball, though. You know that.
No, thanks, Lucas. You were great help. You were greatly helpful there.
You're welcome.
8 minutes to departure.
Look out, here come the Astros, I guess would be the overall theme of this segment. By the way, before we let you know what I'm guessing to a lot of Niners fans will be disturbing Fade the Public news. Mike Leach, who is just, an audible gift from the football gods. Mike Leach talking about how he's not very happy with his wide receivers last week for the old Mississippi State Bulldogs. He did not like what he saw, Ray. Did not like what he saw. And he's thinking at some point here, evolution might take care of these wide receivers. Mike Leach at his best, just basking at everyone.
And I'm genuinely fearful that on our team,
Hold on. Let's just start with how he says the word genuine. Genuine? Like the rapper? Like My Pony? Genuine? Okay, here we go. I think he means genuinely.
Yeah, no, but
genuine it is.
He was doing that at Washington State, too.
And I'm genuinely fearful that on our team, if me and the other coaches don't get them right, that about a generation from now, their kids and their grandkids won't have hands. Because, from a lack of use, those hands just disappear. I mean, and maybe they'll be like this, like those dinosaur hands like this are, you see? And you got like a Tyrannosaurus Rex who's clearly good at eating things, big old jaws and all that stuff, fairly athletic, can run. Well, his hands are like this. And I think we took a very, very, very big step as a team, which we have to correct this. We have to correct this because in the end that it's going to be best for all these guys that they have good hand development and that they don't evolve to where they don't have hands.
In terms of just coaching wide receivers, there's really no arguing against that logic. You do not want a de-evolution to the point where you have handless wide receivers, because at that point you got soccer players.
Yeah, and he's brilliant because he manages in doing that whole dinosaur shtick, to get everybody's mind off the fact that he hates his wide receivers. Because he takes you on such a weird tangent that there's no follow-up to that. What's the beat writer going to ask us? Yeah, well, what about the Velociraptor? There's no follow-up.
What's a Tyrannosaurus? Do you mean Tyrannosaurus?
Yeah, no. He's a gem because he manages to misdirect media people in ways that nobody else would dare. I mean, Nick Saban does it with fear. He does it with trickeration.
I can't remember who wrote the story, but it was some player who had played for Mike Leach and got to know him and really liked Mike Leach. And the theme of the story was basically like, he really wasn't into Pirates as much as I thought he would be. Like, he just uses them as distraction.
Yeah. No. You look at the shiny thing I'm talking about and ignore the fact that I'm kicking my player in the ass.
Or locking them in a medical closet.
Yeah. Or any of the other fun motivational tools he liked to use.
Yeah, I mean, it was what? It was Craig James's kid. He probably had it coming, to be honest. So, look, Fade the Public Friday is America's most successful, no doubt about it, percentage-wise gambling segment there is. Is there any gambling segment in America delivering winners at 75%?
Just ask all those touts. They all are.
Well, no,
I mean, they're not accurate when they tell you that, but they will tell you they're hitting 9 of their last 7 bets.
Right. It's amazing how you can't choose to start the timeline of their successful run. They choose their timeline of their successful run. The timeline I'm choosing is every single Fade the Public Friday that we have done. We have done 4 Fade the Public Fridays, documented. We are 3-1. The first loss came last week. The public money was all on the Seahawks, and we took the Chargers -5 against Seattle. We lost. So 3-1. Again, if any tout service can offer you for reals 75%, you take that, you run with it, you put your mortgage on it. Oh no. Fade the Public Friday. Again, we do not choose the game. We do not choose the teams. We do not choose the line. We do not choose the location. The game chooses us. The public and where they put their money choose us. Fade the Public Friday goes against the 49ers this week. I hate to tell you that 90% of the action on the Rams and Niners is on the Niners -1, -1.5, -2. It depends on where you're looking at it. So, Ray, because we are dedicated to just fading the public beyond anything else, we have no favor here. We choose no quarter. We ask no quarter. We're only asking for winners at a 75% rate. We're on the Rams +1. Rams +1 for Fade the Public Friday. Do you think you and I are talking about a 49ers win or a Rams win on Monday?
Well, given how the Rams have looked most of the year, I think if the 49ers can get all the way to 17, they win.
Can they get there? Can they get there?
They got to 23 against that powerful Kansas City defense.
They did.
It was just that touchy 44 that they gave up.
By the way, 4 points away is Robbie Gould from becoming the 11th all-time NFL leading scorer. Ray, can you name the top 10 kickers in front of him?
Gary Anderson.
One of them.
Morton Anderson.
Another one of them.
Justin Tucker, probably.
No, not yet. Not yet.
Jeez.
Percentage-wise, he's number one. I know I sprung this on you very last minute. Adam Vinatieri, number one.
Well, he played for 90 years.
Golden Toe, Jason Hansen.
Yeah.
He is coming in at number 5. John Carney, Matt Stover, George Blanda, Jason Elam, John Casey. 4 points away from trailing only Sebastian Janikowski to go into the top 10. So we'll see if Robbie Gould can either 4 points after touchdown, which means the 49ers have scored 4 touchdowns, which is good news. 10 points gives them the field goal plus a touchdown. Hopefully I had more than that.
I definitely wouldn't have gotten John Carney or Jason Elam.
I forgive you.
Thanks.
You are forgiven. Thank you so much to Ramona Shelburne, to Joe Fortenbaugh, to Ray, to the forgiveness. Thank you to Grandy, to Lucas. Great stuff all around. Stay tuned because best of 95.7 The Game is right around the corner. A really good conversation that Willard and Dibbs had with Brian Baldinger is coming up for you. Thank you so much for tuning in. And please do remember, as you enjoy your weekend, sports don't build character. They reveal it.
And like that, he's gone.
Ladies and gentlemen, the weekend.